Awesome. All right. So we should be live. So super excited for today and just super excited to be able to welcome everyone to our Mompreneur Summit 2026, sponsored by Capital One. So super excited to have all of you here to be able to hear from some really great mompreneurs themselves, to be able to hear about the resources that are available, kind of what makes mompreneurs different, gives them an advantage to be able to just be successful entrepreneurs and what it takes to really have a community and a village to be able to support that. So to get us started, I'm actually going to introduce Sunny Karasik. She is a VP at Capital One. So super excited to have her kick us off, get us started, and really set the tone for the day. So I'm going to add her to the stage, and she's going to take it from there. Awesome. Welcome, Sunny. I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much, Kara. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Sunny Karasik, and it's my distinct pleasure to welcome you on behalf of Capital One to this year's WEDallas Mompreneur Summit. For a decade, Capital One has proudly partnered with the DEC to cultivate WEDallas, a year-round initiative dedicated to inspiring, equipping, and empowering the remarkable community of women entrepreneurs right here in North Texas, just like you. As a founder-led company, Capital One deeply values and supports our local entrepreneurial ecosystem. We understand firsthand the passion and the hurdles involved in building a resilient and thriving business in today's dynamic market. We have partnered with many successful startups and are always working to understand the unique challenges and opportunities businesses face every day so we can build solutions and experiences designed to help them succeed and grow. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur just beginning to pursue your vision or an established leader seeking connection and growth, this is an extraordinary moment to be a part of the vibrant DFW entrepreneurial landscape. The DEC and Capital One are absolutely thrilled to have this incredible community of women and allies with us this morning. Our sincere hope is that today will provide you with valuable insights, practical resources, and genuine inspiration to make your journey as both an entrepreneur and a mother a fulfilling success. As mothers, parents, and caregivers, we bring a unique set of skills and qualities to the business world. Our ability to multitask, prioritize, and problem solve is unmatched. The empathy, compassion, and nurturing spirit that come naturally to us as parents can be incredibly powerful assets in building strong and lasting relationships with clients, employees, and partners. Thank you for choosing to invest your time today in yourselves, your businesses, and this incredible community of mompreneurs. We're excited to present a fantastic lineup today, offering topics you have shared are top of mind for you, presented by inspiring thought leaders from our community. As you navigate through the ever-evolving entrepreneurial landscape, it is essential to address key areas that can significantly impact the success of your business. Today, we have curated sessions focusing on funding and scaling, learning from experience, and of course, how we can use AI to grow efficiency, crucial topics that play a vital role in the journey of every entrepreneur. I am particularly excited to welcome our keynote for this afternoon, Brittany Grignon Hayes, founder and owner of Session Pilates. She will be telling her story of success and giving great insights on how to build a business while raising a family. Once again, thank you for joining us today at WEDallas's Mompreneur Summit presented by Capital One. May today be the start of an incredible journey of growth, learning, success for each and every one of us. Now it's my pleasure to invite Kara to come back to provide you with details for the rest of your morning.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sunny. That was a great overview of what we're going to have in store for us today. Like she said, I'm going to be introducing our first session, which is Bhavna Kumar. She is the head of Startup Accelerator at SMU Spears Institute. The SMU Spears Institute has been a great partner to the DEC Network over the years, so super excited to get to hear from her. She's going to be talking about the unfair advantage, what building a real business actually takes, and why moms are built for it. So I'm going to bring Bhavna on stage, and then I'll let you take it from here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kara. And hi, everyone. Welcome to my session. I am very excited to be talking to you about my journey. I have had a long career working with startups for about 18 years now, and I've only been a mom for 2.5 years. And very quickly, it became apparent how much overlap and parallels there are, and how being a mom can really be an unfair advantage to being a founder. So before I could jump into slides, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I lived on both the coasts, San Francisco for longer, New York for a little less time, several years on both sides. But I'm Indian. I grew up in Dubai. I was born in Kuwait, so I spent a lot of time in the Middle East and found myself in these large cities. And then I decided to have a baby at 40. And it meant I had to change a lot about my life. I hadn't built my life for children. I hadn't built my life to be the mom that I aspired to be starting that point. So very quickly, when I was 2 or 3 months pregnant, I moved from New York City, Chelsea, Manhattan to right here in Dallas, Texas. Not even in Dallas, guys. I am in Allen, Texas. And that's because my family happens to live here, and I wanted my child to grow up with his family, with his community, but also I needed my community. I needed support. I needed love. I was going through a high risk pregnancy, and I said, what am I doing here in Chelsea, Manhattan? And so that was probably the best decision I've made in a very long time, because I have the life that I envisioned for my child, and I didn't have to compromise and sacrifice the career. I did have to make trade offs. So I'll jump into slides, but I wanted to share that because I want to keep the session authentic, real, grounded in the many challenges and trade offs women do go through as moms, and how all of these actually lead us to be amazing entrepreneurs. All right, I will start presenting my slides now. Kara, you might need to help me with this because it's not showing up anymore. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So, like I said, my name is Bhavna Kumar, and I'm excited to tell you what your unfair advantage is. Before I jump into that, I'll tell you a little bit about my professional storyline as well. I started my time in the startup ecosystem at Citi Ventures, which is Citibank's VC arm. And this is really corporate VC. I first realized that there's so much innovation out there in the Bay Area and all around us, and startups are really building with a difference. I got to build a corporate incubator for Citi Ventures, which practiced entrepreneurship, so that the people that are in Citigroup that have the entrepreneurial bug have a space to build amazing things for Citibank. I then was found by Samsung Next, which is Samsung's VC arm. It used to be Samsung Accelerator, where I helped them run several of their accelerators in New York, San Francisco, Tel Aviv. I got to pick Berlin as our next market as the head of global expansion. Toronto explored. I lived in India for three months, opening that market for us. Explored several others, including Beijing, Shanghai, Singapore, and Brazil, which was very exciting. I also built product. So all my time, I've kind of oscillated between building product and playing the operating partner in a VC role. And so at Samsung Next, I built a machine learning based algorithm that would help people work out better in front of their TVs. Maybe in the future, some of our TVs will have cameras, and then you'll see my technology. I realized at that point that I'd been in corporate VC for quite a while, 10 years, I think, at that point. So I wanted to work at a true accelerator that would welcome more than just the corporate friendly ones. And so I worked at Techstars as the VP of Network. So it was a global role managing 4,000 portfolio companies. So very quickly here, at Citi and Samsung, I was looking at the few founders that would make sense for our corporate machine. But at Techstars, I was looking at thousands of founders and seeing what makes a difference, which founders succeed, which ones fail, which ones persevere versus give up. So the pattern matching was very real and very exciting. After that, I was in New York at that point, and when I decided to move here to Dallas, I did have to say goodbye to that side of my career. But I was pleasantly surprised that right here in Dallas, SMU was building or thinking of building an accelerator and asked me to do it for them. That is a space that I realized I wouldn't have been able to occupy if I was in one of the larger markets. To build from the ground up with your own vision is not common. I would have had so many voices in my ear telling me how to do it right, but here I could build with my learnings, with my insights, with my vision. And then I also have started working on my own project called the Secret Startup Series, which is about educating founders all through DFW and beyond, so that I'm not gatekeeping the knowledge that I've gained in San Francisco and New York, and all my years working with startups. So I did all this as a 42-year-old woman, 43, sorry, I just turned 43. And I have a 2.5-year-old, so you do the math. I have a dog, I have a husband, I have a family that I moved here for that are very demanding. And I live in a new state, in a new culture. I have 0 free hours. Like I have minus some free hours. And I know all of the moms in the room feel that way. And so there are some things that I think we can do as entrepreneurs that will make us that'll make us focus on our superpowers and really help us be more efficient with our time. And all of these lessons are learned in the startup world. So I'm bringing kind of what I've learned has worked the best and what I advise founders all day to do. If you look at that picture, that is my son. That is a snack in my hand, and that is me crouched over to make sure he doesn't lick the mirror that he has his nose stuck on. So when we talk about prioritization and moms being able to do it all, this is just a quick glimpse of how we do it every day. So 4 things we're going to cover today. One is North Star metric, which is focusing on the thing that matters the most, identifying the thing that matters the most before we focus on. Second thing I'll share about is the mom test. As I see a lot of founders who are working on a new idea or working on a new business plan, I ask them to think about who they're talking to validate their ideas. We always have to validate whatever we do to make sure that there's a demand for it, is a good use of our time, but who we're talking to really matters. Then I'll talk about storytelling, something that as moms we do so much of, but don't realize it's actually such a superpower when it comes to hiring your first employee or raising around or marketing yourself. And fourth, I'll talk about our resource advantage, how sometimes having little is just the right amount. So let's get into it. So the first arc I want to share with you is North Star metrics. It is thinking about what is the one thing I need to make sure to see if my business is running well, if my business is worth it, if my business is gaining traction. Your North Star metric is that single number that tells you whether your business is actually working. We can have a list of things that we need to do. We do not need to-do lists to create successful businesses. We need to know what is the one thing. If we get that right, everything falls into place. So we have to make sure that we're not chasing after vanity metrics that don't really move the needle. We need to think about what is the thing that moves our business forward. And we need to measure it consistently and make sure it's moving in the right direction. When it moves in the wrong direction, you need to investigate on why that happens. So for every business owner out there, think about what is my North Star metric, that one thing that changes everything. So for a marketplace, it might be the number of completed transactions, not signups. A lot of people can sign up because you did some crazy great marketing and got the word out, but as soon as they signed up, they never wanted to look at your product again, right? So that is not necessarily going to lead to a sale. While it is important, what you might want to measure is the number of completed transactions, because that is the sale that you made. And you would measure it by week. And you would want to check on it week on week for months to see the pattern of where that number is going. Let's say you have a coaching business. You would want to see how many referrals you're getting. So a client got a positive result because they worked with you as a coach and they referred somebody because your business. So what you don't want to do is measure sessions sold, because that isn't going to lead to a sustaining business necessarily. It is a very good sign because it is a sale. We like that. But it may not be your North Star metric, because what you might want to do is to create that sustainable flywheel of the network effect, where more and more people, the more people use you, twice as many or three times as many people want to use you next. For a product, it might be your weekly active users, your monthly active users, your daily active users. At one point, when I was building on Discord, I was measuring DAU. And so you want to see how many people are coming back to your business, right? And they, without any marketing, without any pushing, they just like your product so much and they're feeling the impact of it that they're keeping on coming back. And you want to measure that and make sure it's kind of doing that and not doing that. So think about, what is my North Star metric for my business? So as we think about our North Star metrics, you really want to think about, how can I ruthlessly prioritize? As I mentioned, your North Star metric might be the one thing. You know what? As a mom, you're doing that by 7 a.m. I'm in that phase where nap time, my nap schedules and my nap windows are everything. And if I know I'm like 45 minutes before his nap window, I know what is the one thing I need to do to get him to that nap window successfully. I know I need to start doing calm play. Calm play has to be the key. If I start elevating the mood right now, I will not get to my nap time successfully. So think about that. How can I be ruthlessly focused on the things that matter? So for a founder, that might be you do sprint planning. I am a big fan of sprint planning. Think about 2-week intervals, what you need to achieve in those 2 weeks, and what is the North Star metric for those 2 weeks or for that week. As a mom, you might be doing 3 things, but the one thing that matters the most. Like if I'm trying to put my baby for a nap, I can play soft music, I can do calm play, or I can give him a bottle, but he's past bottle, but you get it. And I know calm play is the most important thing. Priorities actually don't work in plural. We need to have a priority. We need to have one priority, and then everything else is second. So talking about my own life, right? Like when I moved from New York to Dallas, I had to be ruthlessly focused on my priority, which was this life that I envisioned for my baby and for myself. And I wasn't getting that in New York because my family lived here. So it meant that I had to put on a priority to everything else, because for this phase, my priority 1 is baby's lifestyle. And therefore, priority 2 became staying in the company that I love, or having the friends that I currently have, or having the social life and the the New York life that I'm very used to. So being ruthless about that is important. You also need to know what can wait and making sure you track what's waiting. So sequencing is something I highly, highly think founders do really well, and we have to do if we are a founder, is that you need to know what goes into your backlog and what stays as a focus for the week. So sequencing is an important skill that we do all the time as moms. And the next thing is, thinking about what will bring us closer to where we need to be. And that's where, what is moving our North Star metric, being able to measure how close we are from the destination. So define the destination and then measure success towards that destination, and then course correct as needed. That focus, that ruthless prioritization is something I highly recommend all our founders do. The next thing I want to talk about is something, I love the name of this because it's the best named book in the room. It's called The Mom Test. I highly recommend everyone read it if you're new to starting your business, but even if you've already started your business, but you might be launching new features, you might be launching new product lines. The Mom Test really tells us about who we talk to is so, so important. So a quote from it is, you shouldn't ask your mom whether your business is a good idea because she loves you and she will lie to you. We know we feel that way about our kids. We know we've been lied to by our moms, and it's from the best place. If I ask my mom, Mama, do you like this thing I'm working on? She'll say, it's the best thing I've ever seen. I love it. Because she wants to make me happy. She sees the best version of me, but she's not the right person to judge whether the idea I'm working on has the merit that I think it does. So think about who you talk in your life. So when you talk to people, try to talk to strangers who fit your target segment. not your friends and family, because they're most likely to lie to you. And when you talk to people, talk about their life, not your idea. Don't ask them questions like, would you use my product? Instead, ask them, walk me through the last time you had this problem, and see if your product, in your mind, map out, does my product even fit the problem that they talked about? Ask them about the past, not the future. So people are notorious about building a better, more optimistic version of them in the future. So you really don't want to focus on what they might do in the future, because they don't know what they'll do, but they believe they'll do something amazing. So you really want to ask them what they've already done and if that matches what you're working on. So you might say, I remember when I was building a breakfast bar for Pepsi at Quaker Oats. I wouldn't ask them, would you eat this bar? Do you like this bar? Do you see this fitting your lifestyle? No, I'd say, what did you have for breakfast yesterday or this morning? Something that's fresh in their memory but has already happened. And oftentimes when I would ask them, what would you like to eat for breakfast? They would say, scrambled eggs and toast and all these great healthy foods. And when I asked them, what did you eat today? They would say, I ate my kids' leftover cereal, or I had a donut under my office building because it was right there. And so I realized all these things they're telling me are about convenience. They're really looking for something that's super duper easy, no stress, no fuss. They can just grab and go. So I was thinking of creating this refrigerated breakfast bar, and I'm like, I don't think they're going to go for it, because I'm not solving their pain. And I could do that only because I asked them about their actual behavior. Less talking, more listening. So imagine 80% of the conversations you're going to have with people are going to be you listening. You need to ask them 3 questions. I prepare 5 questions per interview, but I usually only get through 3. So always kind of keep a couple in case you have somebody who's not chatty, but your job is to get information out of them. And if they're not giving it to you, ask them why. Ask them, when they give you one little tidbit, ask them, oh, why did you do that? Oh, why did you have that for breakfast? Oh, why did you feel like you needed to have that? Ask why. They say if you can ask somebody a why question 5 times, you'll really get to the core emotional truth of them. But I usually get through 3 and then they get irritated with me. So at least try to get to 3 whys, and that'll get them talking. So I want to make sure that you have a little bit of a script. So those 3 questions I mentioned you should ask. Tell me about the last time you dealt with the problem that I'm trying to solve. So like, tell me the last time you dealt with going hungry to work, and get them to talk about the story, get them to relive that incident. Have you tried to fix this? What happened? It is very important for you to know what the alternatives are to your product. You probably have to be significantly better than their alternatives, because there's a lot of inertia in what they're already doing. Getting them to shift on that, it's not easy. So there's a rule that you should be 10x better than the alternative, but you need to know what their alternative is before you can fix it. And then what would it mean for you if this was solved? So try to understand, how big is the pain? Is it a real pain? Would it change their life? Would it change their day? Would it save them hours of time a week? What is the impact it would have if this problem was solved? You notice none of these questions I'm talking about actually focus on your solution. You have a solution, I get it. But you really need to understand, what is the problem I'm trying to solve and how can my solution fit into that problem, versus the other way around, where you try to find a problem that your solution can fix. The next arc I want to talk about is that storytelling. Your story is your strategy, it is your moat. So this is a very, very important thing, storytelling, when it comes to investors, because investors tend to fund stories and visions, and the ability of a founder to make somebody else feel how important this is to them. That is an art and a skill. Customers buy stories, which is why we spend so much money on marketing and getting people to look at our product. Partners join stories. So let's say you want a co-founder, they need to believe that you've got a plan and you've got it together and you know how you're going to get there, but you also need to instill emotion in them to feel passionate about the thing you're solving. are so used to storytelling. Today, this morning, I had to convince my son to go to school, and I built a story around how when he gets to school, there in the playground, there's this big this fire truck, and how he's going to be able to ride it, and he's going to be able to push the horn, and he's going to be able to have this magical experience around it. And it was important for me to sell him the vision so that he would go to school. Otherwise, he'd be here with us on this call. And I think as moms, we do it all the time, but we don't realize that this thing that we do all day, all the time, actually can get us millions of dollars. So channel that energy of storytelling and about building vision and about selling your ideas into your business, and really focus on that. Some important things to think about is why you, right? The fact that you maybe have felt the pain yourself. Let's say you were working in a company and working on these databases that would take hours of time, and you were like, why is this taking hours of time? This should be a simpler process, and you designed that simpler process. Excuse me, that is a magical story. To be able to communicate it, to be able to make people feel that you had felt it, you had measured it, and now you can fix it, is so important. And to then to be able to tell it in slides or in your words is so important. Why now? So this is more of a focus because I come from the VC world, but I really think so much of it is applicable to everyone. So much of business is timing. And so you need to be able to tell the story around why the timing is right for your business right now. And if it's not, then you may not, A, don't focus on that in your story, but B, think about, is this the right business for the right time? So EVs have been in the market for, I don't know, decades, right? But I think Ford or GM was the first one to come out with an EV, but it bombed because people were not ready for EVs. Today is a very different story. So think about, what is the timing of my product, and does it make sense for the market? And then communicate that. And then, why will this work? You do not want to give a feature list. What you want to say is, I understand the problem. That is why this is the set of features I've built to solve that problem. And I know what my competitors are doing, and they're not solving the problem the way I am. It is important for you to be able to communicate that, and think about, how could you do these three things, why you, why now, and why this will work, in 90 seconds. That's my challenge to you. And the fourth arc I want to focus on with you today is resource advantage. So I mentioned to you at the beginning that I have worked across thousands of founders, right? And so I've been able to pattern match pretty well. And surely I have those stories of the privileged founder whose parents were doing the thing, and then he was doing the thing, and then all his friends were doing the thing. So when he did the thing, it was easy for him to raise. Yes, but that is not the common founder. They absolutely exist, but the common founder that I've seen who has succeeded didn't have that much more. They just did more with what they had. So think about that. It's not about having more and more and more. It's about doing more with whatever you have. So as moms, you know this. You can't afford to build the wrong thing. So you're ruthless with your time, right? You prioritize your time. You can't, one is money. You absolutely need money to build your business. And so you're going to watch every penny as it goes. Moms do this so well. Moms do this every day at home with their budgeting. Moms do this with our time, because every minute counts. And so you can't afford to build the wrong thing. And so you will probably, if you give yourself a chance, follow that same thinking you do at home, but for your business, you will build the right thing. You don't have time for theater. So big companies or even small startups can often be lost in innovation theater, where they're talking about the thing rather than doing the thing and proving the thing. I've seen startups guilty of this as well, where it's really about the finesse of the deck than it is the actual thing. But as a mom, you don't have time for that. You don't BS around. You're a straight shooter. Do that even in your business. Focus on the metrics that truly matter. Like I said, your North Star metrics that move the needle versus make you look good. You make fast decisions with incomplete information. Imagine as moms if we had to wait for complete information for every little decision. The other day, my son did, I was like, yeah, he's falling sick. I could tell from the way he coughed, the crankiness when he woke up. I had triangulated a few facts within minutes and I was able to make a decision. I'm like, I think he's teething and I know I have to give him Motrin. And there was a lot of crying for 30 minutes, but after that, once the medicine kicked in, he was a happy baby running all over the place. So we do this again at home every day. That is what you do at business. You make fast decisions with incomplete information, and that's what makes you a leader and you the right leader for your business. You follow your gut, and it's triangulating a few facts that help you feel confident about your decision. And you know your customer. So chances are you are the customer. A lot of women tend to bill for pain that they've seen. A lot of humans do. And I love those founders because they have a very passionate reason to want to work on the thing they're working on. Because if you're not passionate about it, if you haven't felt it to a deep level, then you'll want to give up when things get hard because there's no emotion attached to it. So you know your customer because you're probably the customer yourself, and you're going to keep trying to solve for yourself and make this a system that's easy for you. But then you'll know other women or other people who are in your boat as well, and you will solve for you collectively. So as we close off, there are 4 things I'd love for you to think of doing by Friday. No excuses. 1 week, you can do it. Name your North Star metric. One number that moves the needle that says, my business is working because this number is working and this number is trending in the right direction. Think about that, name it, start measuring it. Name 3 real people with the problem that you're trying to solve that are not family and close friends. And do the 3 questions that I gave you. Write your story in those 3 sentences and say it in 90 seconds. That's your elevator pitch. Say it out loud, say it to yourself, and then go practice it with someone else. And then list what you have, not what you lack. I know it feels like so challenging when you're building a business. How will I do it? Will I succeed? Uh, I don't think you have imposter syndrome. You're like, I don't think I have the skills for it. I don't think I have the resources for it. Stop. List the things you have, not the ones you lack. Make that list, read it every day, and realize that you've got these lived experiences, the hustle, the customer voice, things that other people wouldn't have. And that is your starting capital. So that is my homework to you. So remember, you as a mom have a lot of unfair advantage to get this right. You were built for this. The constraints are real. The juggle is real. None of it disqualifies you. It is all your advantage. So with that, that is the end of my presentation. Kara, I am happy to take questions if anyone has any. If I have a couple minutes, please feel free to share your questions.
Awesome. All right, let me look at the comments. But in the meantime, I do have a question. I'd love to know if you had just one key piece of advice. I mean, obviously, one of those is to just know that you always have an advantage. But what would be one other key piece of advice that you could leave with any mompreneurs that are joined today?
One more piece of advice I would give to mompreneurs is to network. I have noticed women in general, and especially when we have so many things going on, the one thing we tend to trade off is the networking part of it. So we may not go for industry events, trade shows, VC networking hours, but the network is everything. And it's really important for you to show up. And you can't send your subordinates, you can't send your juniors to represent you. You have to be the one in the room for the key events. So network, I know it's painful. The system isn't designed for us. These events are usually 5 p.m. onwards, unlike this one, which I love. But focus on the ones that have the highest yield. Don't focus on the low yield ones. Focus on the high yield ones and show up. Show up prepared. Show up with your elevator pitch.
Awesome. I love that. And then I also have another question. I guess, what does having it all mean to you now versus before you became a mom?
Having it all now means me, baby, it felt a lot easier to have it all. It's a lot harder to have it all as a mom. So I've almost stopped putting myself on that pedestal that I think I can have it all every given day. A lot of days I need to survive all the balls I've set in the air, and some days I just need to pick. I will have days where my baby doesn't get as much time with his mom, and I will miss it so much. But I really need to focus on my business or my accelerator. And there will be days where, like this Saturday, somebody from work texted me and I said, please contact me on Monday because I'm with my baby. So I don't think on a daily basis we should aspire to have it all. We should be ruthless about making those trade-offs and basing it on what really matters for both our personal and professional lives. But I love the question.
Yeah, I love that. I'd also love to know just, I know you work for the SMU Spears Institute, so you're definitely just in the ecosystem all the time, interacting with all kinds of really great resources for entrepreneurs. I'd love to know, what do you think is kind of like a hidden gem? What's an organization or a resource or some version of support that you feel like not enough entrepreneurs are tapping into and you want them to know about?
So I think just talking about SMU Spears and SMU in general, I'm new to Dallas, but when I first came to Dallas, it felt like I had hardly heard about SMU's startup ecosystem presence, but now it's blossomed and there's so much going on. So definitely sign up for our mailing list because we're trying to do events with all kinds of founders, investors, operators that are open to public. So the things around SMU have changed, and give it a shot. The other thing I'll mention, selfish plug, because why not, is my partner and I, Laurel Hess, who is the founder of Hamper, she's raised around $15 million for her startup. She and I felt that a lot of our founders, most of our founders in Dallas, are expected to play the VC game without knowing the rules. So we've decided to just give our time for free and educate founders on some of the fundamentals of building a business. So follow us on Secret Startup Series. We're hosting cohorts. They're for free. It's just our way of doing good and mentoring people at scale. And our first one is on fundraising. Our next one will probably be on go-to-market. So these are just things that, this is me, one human, telling you about two things you should do immediately. But as soon as you start searching for more, there are so many. Plug and Play does some amazing events and keeps their expos where you can see other founders pitch open to the public. So just go, just learn. The Deck Network has so many things for non-startup founders that feels inaccessible because in all you feel so alone in that journey. But the Deck Network can give you a community where you're not alone. So once you start looking, there's so many. I can mention Startup Grind, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, they host events as well. All you have to do is start following these organizations and you'll hear about them.
Absolutely. No, I love that. I know it's always that. I mean, I know we hear that a lot of like, oh my gosh, y'all are the best hidden secret. And it's like, we don't want to be a secret. We have resources. So, yes. And I think that's the great thing about the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Dallas too, is that everybody is always collaborating and we want you to take advantage of as many resources as possible. We're not trying to compete with each other. We just want everybody to have access to everything that's available to them. So I always love to ask that question of like, who do you know that people should know? And so I really thank you for being willing to share that.
Kara, you made me think of something. Yeah. The Deck Network does such a good job of talking about your presence, about hosting events. But again, like, we as women need to show up for those things. We need to follow, we need to show up, and we need to seek it. So we shouldn't feel that the information will come to us. We need to go out there and get the information, go and like take a chance at a new event, take a chance at a new organization. So if we feel like, oh, I haven't heard much about the Deck Network, the Deck Network will not come and feed you the information. Go and look up what they're doing, even if it's a little hidden. Go join their Slack group. So women, please be more aggressive about your networking. Go and find opportunities that are a good fit for you.
Absolutely. Even if you have to tag a friend to come along with you, that's always my advice until you feel comfortable going on your own. It's like, hey, I know you're a founder and I know you might like this resource too. So just kind of get a group of people together, go out, go network. I know there's lots of great resources and things for people to take advantage of. And so we want everybody to do that. But no, I think that this was really great. Any other thoughts, things that you want to leave with anybody before we wrap up?
No, this was wonderful, Kara. Thank you for asking the thoughtful questions. And I so agree with you. Tag a friend, take a friend. Everyone wins. That's great advice to leave the group on.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I will go ahead and put you backstage so that we can get our next speakers coming up. So let me do that before I introduce you. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye.
Awesome. Well, alrighty, I'm going to introduce our next two speakers. We have coming up. Super excited for this session for you guys to hear from two really great founders. So session two, we're going to be hearing from Tiffany Jones-Lewis. She's the founder and CEO of TJL Collection, and she's going to be moderated by Patton Sickles. She is the CEO and founder of SickFit. So some really great brands. I know both of them have done some huge things over the past couple years. I know that they've been super involved in things that we've been doing here at the Deck Network. So super excited for you guys to hear from them as well. They're going to be talking about your story is your strategy, turning your experience into opportunity. So let me go ahead and welcome Tiffany and Patton to the stage, and then I will let y'all take it from there if you want to introduce yourself and jump right into it. So let me add you both, and then I will remove myself and let y'all take it from there.
Hey.
Is audio working?
It is, and you're on live.
Mm-hmm. I can't hear you.
My audio, my audio is working. Okay. Hi, everyone. Give us 1 second. Hi, everyone.
I know, sometimes these virtual things, they're not our friends. Yeah. So definitely super excited for this. We'll give her a couple minutes to figure all this. But I guess in the meantime, Tiffany, how have you been? How have things been with your business? We'd love to kind of know that.
Yes, everything has been amazing. I just got back from DC. I went up to a small business event at the Capitol, which was amazing. Hi.
I can hear you all now. So sorry.
Okay.
No worries. I was just catching up. So I'll let y'all take it from here. I'll let y'all get started.
Okay.
I was just making things interesting for you. That's all. Keep me on your toes, Tiffany. You know how I love
Good.
Well, first and foremost, Tiffany, thank you for allowing me to moderate for you. Let's just please introduce yourself and allow everybody to let them know who you are and how amazing you really are.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Jones-Lewis. I'm a mom of 3, a Navy veteran. I'm married. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, but I'm the CEO and founder of TJL Collection. So we are a women's fashion brand exclusively for tall girls. I'm 6'1". I've always struggled to find clothes, and I decided that I was going to do something about that.
I think I'm losing you again.
Mm-hmm. You're muted.
Can you hear me now? All right. So you wear a lot of titles as an entrepreneur. I'm not sure why you're echoing here.
It looks like you're joined on 2 different things. Maybe there's a phone that's joined as well.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, y'all. We are having some tech issues.
Okay, it looks like she's trying to rejoin. So
okay,
we'll just give her a couple minutes. Okay, now let me add her and see if that works better. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can
Yes.
hear you.
All right. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I don't know what's happening with the audio. Well, Tiffany,
Okay.
before we get into it, you told us a bit about you and your story. Can you tell us a bit about the kids since we're heavily focused on this being a mompreneur?
Yes.
Summit?
So I have 3 kiddos. My daughter is 6. Her kindergarten graduation is actually today. And then I have twin boys who are 4. So my house is really fun and interesting. I ended up with 3 kids under 3.
I don't think I can hear you again. I think you're lost again.
I can hear you.
And I cannot hear you.
Kara, I don't know what is going on with audio today. I can't hear you either.
Sorry, I was muted. Let's give her one more time, and then if not, maybe, I mean, worst case scenario, maybe she can send over her
Okay.
question.
Okay.
and I can
Yeah.
step in. The good thing is we got started a little bit early, so we have a couple minutes to figure it out.
I think that's life of a mompreneur.
Oh, absolutely.
I had an interview with Fox News like not too long ago, and my nanny could not watch my kids. Fun story. And I had to like give them snacks and juice and iPads. And I was like, please do not talk for like 10 minutes, please, because I mean, it is just, anything can happen at any moment. So I'm so used to trying to I end up locking myself in my bedroom, and I did an interview from my closet. So I was like, as far away from noise as possible.
Okay, hopefully this works.
Okay,
Can you hear
hopefully it
us?
does.
I can hear you, and then when you start talking, it's just like you're gone. I'm not sure, but you're talking now. I hear both of you all once again, so hopefully we'll be good.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now, Tiffany, I know that you've worked with some amazing organizations along your journey. Can you touch on some of those and who's been your favorite and how you landed that deal?
Yes, I've gotten a chance. So with my brand, it's a very niche company, and I always really struggle trying to figure out who we can partner with. And the beautiful thing about, I think, doing what I do is I get to be myself, like even in the business. Like I'm a tall girl, I'm 6'1" myself. So I always sell my story and how I connect to our customers. So I feel like the most exciting one probably was working with the WNBA, and simply because I play sports myself. I'm a military girl, and I always love this energy around like what athletes should look like, and being able to really like create fun, cute things for women on and off the court.
Well, we can't just skim over that. You've worked with the WNBA, so we got to go into that a little bit further, delve into that, and how did it happen for you?
By being persistent. It took me about 3 years to close that deal. And I'll be honest, I think the first time it was kind of hard for them to understand how to work with us. And then you're always trying to find the right person, the right contact, a lot of follow-up emails, as you know, a lot of chasing people down at games. Like it took me a while to really land that good meeting with the right person. And really what I did was I created them visuals of what I see and how I see us integrating. I didn't wait on them to tell me how they could work with me. I said, this is how I can work with you. And just bringing them good visuals, bringing them the things that I felt like they would want to hear from me and how fans could connect to it. And then really showing them too, from their customer base. I'm a season ticket holder with the Wings, and I go to a lot of games. So I pay attention to their fans. I pay attention to what their fans wear. And I was like, these will land so good if you just let me try them, and doing stuff like that is so important that we take something and we show it to them.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to ask this a little bit later in depth, but since we're here already, who is somebody that you haven't worked with yet that you want to work with and is really on your radar that you're being super persistent with?
I wanna at some point work with a beauty brand. I really want to work with the beauty brand, and I think that that's I think at the beginning people are like, huh? But eventually, you know, I'm so about women. I'm so about moms. Like part of my story and one of the things I always share is this thing about like picking yourself back up after having children. You know, being able to find your stride again, and how do you fit children into it? And one of the ways that I always pitch the brand is talking about how clothes fit into our lifestyle. Last year, I did this whole thing for 1 year where I didn't wear t-shirts and leggings, and I posted about it constantly. Where I was like, I'm going to challenge myself to wear the clothes that I have in my closet. I'm going to challenge myself to wear the clothes that I'm buying. And because after having kids, I just went through the worst postpartum. I had kids back to back to back to back, and it was really, really hard to find my stride again. Mm-hmm. And so I love pushing confidence building and pushing women to find themselves and showing people that you really can find yourself from the inside out. Like you have to find your confidence from the inside out when it comes to being an entrepreneur, when it comes to showing up in your company.
And you're dropping all the gems here. Don't wait for anybody. Go for it. Pick yourself back up after children. Don't wear leggings for a year. Noted. I don't know if I can achieve that one, but that's a powerful way as well. But I mean, you've already kind of touched on your kids. They're watching you build this, and I mean, we've seen videos of you actually seeing your daughter pack orders and fulfill orders and working the pop-up shops. What's the story you're telling them about work, money, ambition, and what's different from what your mother told you, and how do you continue to carry that forward?
I think so much about, you know, with my mom, she's my biggest supporter. Like that woman goes so hard for me. But I think when I always wanted to do fashion, but my mom, she didn't think it was that much of a promising degree, and like, what are you going to do with a fashion degree? And I understand that coming from her generation, where she was like, what are you going to do with this? You need to figure out how you're going to get a job. And so I ended up not doing fashion originally. And, you know, my heart and love for it brought me back to it at some point. But I think what's different is like with my daughter, I want her to see me exploring my passions. I want her to see me more than just her mom. I want her to see me as human. I want her to see me as a woman. I want her to see me as someone who doesn't lose herself in all the things. You know what I mean? And I think that's just so very important to what I get a chance to show her in the process. And when I think about my mother as well, like she has supported me so much, but I think the dream felt a little nervous for her. I think it was a little scary for her, especially because I grew up in the Deep South. And if anything, it was like, I just need you to get to college and get a good, solid job. That was like what she wanted from me so desperately. I have a different understanding of what it means and tools that will better help her kind of reach for the stars. And I mean that like in general, like she can reach for whatever star she wants to reach for. But I think it starts with me doing it and being it every day, so she can see that I didn't let a hiccup or a challenge kind of slow me down. Kids definitely make it very challenging to do all the things. And a lot of times I can't be all the places and go to all the networking and all the things that I wish I really could be at. I really do wish I could go to more stuff at times. But I really felt like, and I believe this in my heart, that if you honor the things that you have, which is, I try to really honor being a mother, I try to really honor being a wife, that so many great opportunities still can and will happen for you.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, you mentioned your husband as well. I know he packs some orders and does lots of things on the back end too. Can you tell us about that and what that's like, you all's dynamic? Like, is it hard to balance when you know?
I mean, I'll be honest, my husband had hesitations too. You know, my husband he had hesitations. I mean, he wanted me to follow my dreams. Don't get me wrong. But I do think at the beginning, when you're investing this money and you're kind of doing stuff, it's like, hold on now. You know, It took him a while to get on board. It took him kind of seeing that influx and seeing more orders, and he jumped right in. He's always supported me, but I do think it was a little bit of hesitation about like, what are you doing? At the beginning of it. But he's super supportive too.
I love that. So balancing a mother, a wife, a sister, mompreneur, that's a lot. That's a lot of titles. So who in your life have you kind of had to lose access to for you to continue to scale and grow TJL? Or, along the way, have you seen some of your friends or some of those relationships kind of fall off? Can you walk us through that and kind of tell us about your journey in that sense?
I do believe, at least what's been true in my journey of having 3 children and growing the brand as big as it's gotten today, is that it's a sacrifice. You have to lose to gain. I think in one day, it's so much to do in one day. And I try to tackle things like day by day, and I really do believe that it's a lot of times where, again, you can't make everything. You can't, and you have to shed a version of yourself. You have to shed. I feel like even when you have kids, you shed a version of yourself, and you have to build a new version of yourself. And it's the same thing, I believe, with becoming an entrepreneur. Like a lot of my friends, they were 9-to-5ers. A lot of the people that I was in the military, and as you know, that once you leave out, the train keeps going, and you go down a new path. They're still going down their military path. They're looking for the things that they're doing, and you go down this new path, and you find new friends that are entrepreneurs, and you connect with people who better understand. But I do think that it is some shading that has to happen to form a new version of you. If you want to get into the space of saying, I can handle being a wife, a mother, and then this job. Like sometimes I text back really slow. Sometimes I'm not always available to answer the phone. And I do my best, but I will always hope the people that love me understand that I'm juggling a lot at times beyond the business. My daughter got projects and hairs and haircuts and everything. And it's so much of a tight schedule sometimes that it's just really hard to be the free friend or the free person. But I do a really good job, I think, of trying to schedule days out to spend time with my family, spend time, with on holidays and things like that. And then the more and more I grow my team, the better free time that I have.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned the day-to-day. Can you walk us through what a day looks like for you?
Day-to-day looks like, on a normal day, I typically get up, because I work overseas anyway, I'm typically up around like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I get up, I work a little bit, I wake the kids up. Well, I get myself dressed by 6:30. I start breakfast. I get the kids off to school. They have to be there by 7:50. And then really from 8:10 to like 2:30, I have a lot more free time. And I work, I do everything I need to do at home. I try to clean up, go grocery shopping, all the things. And then pick up is like 2:30, 3 o'clock again, and on and so forth. So I have little pockets of time that I work diligently, and in those hours, like I'm locked in. I'm doing every little thing that I need to do during that time. And then I really do try to make sure that I work out 3 to 4 times out the week. I want to do it more, but I try to work out 3 to 4 times out the week as well. I always think that it's so good to be whole as a person. And the rest of the time, when it comes to like content creation and stuff like that, going back to like my storytelling, is like the beautiful thing about it is I don't have to like hide who I am to do the company. Majority of my customers are mothers. They're over 35. They're working women. And I literally talk about like my gym day. I talk about what I had to do. I talk about what I wore traveling. And I don't have to deviate from who I am to promote my business.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, to save time, what are some things that you do like day to day or use? Like, I know you love Instacart. We hear about it all on social. What other things that you kind of use?
Yes. It's so funny. Before I had the twins, I was not a drive up type of girl. But when I had 3, all my kids were in car seats at one time. So I learned to like do drive up because I was like, it's no way I can take 3 car seats in the store. So I order the groceries. I typically order the groceries. I go pick them up. So this saves me so much time. We do have a meal prep person. Like I get my meals meal prepped for, so that way I'm eating healthy and I'm doing the things I need to do. I have hired, I have a housekeeper, and I know everyone can't do all these things, but for me, it's been about giving me whatever time back that I need to be able to do stuff successfully. And I also think too, I would even say like hiring team members, even if it's just like an assistant or an admin person, just someone who can continue giving you time back. So because it's parts of the business that only I can do, and it's parts of the business I think other people can do. And then I also think too, I have hard start and stop times. Like I said, I have to drop off by this time, and I have to pick up at this time. So I work around the parameters of those things. And I really make sure that I put as much stuff in place that I can that allows me to be as strategic as possible with the little time that I do have.
How far out do you have your schedule?
Huh?
And how far out do you have your calendar in advance?
I think it depends on the variables that I can control. The things that I can't control, like the kids' schedule, like my daughter's volleyball schedule, or I put all those things in, especially if they give it to me. Like we have the whole schedule for the summer pretty much. Right. So all those things go in with the kids. And then I do think when you ask me about what I can and can't do, I don't do events like last minute events. Anything that's going to cause me like a lot of extra anxiety, I just can't do that. Like I need a little bit of time to wrap my head around like what the brand can be at and what the brand can and can't do and stuff like that. So a part of change, I think, is saying no to stuff too, that allows me to like keep my sanity as best as possible. Whatever's going to keep me whole.
As a mom, just as a nurturer, was that hard for you to say no initially?
I think it wasn't as much about me being a mom, but as much as me thinking I was missing out on something. Like now I realize, because even having kids, I mourned that a little bit, especially when I saw it was twins on the screen. I was like, oh my God. When my doctor was like, it's 2, and I was like, Jesus, my daughter was just walking. Like, I think she had just started, I think we had just like celebrated her walking and everything like that when I got pregnant with the twins. So I was like, I got this little one and then I got 2 more. I felt like I was gonna miss something. So part of it is like you say yes, because you're like, oh, if I don't take this opportunity, another opportunity is not gonna appear for me. And that's not true. It's just not true. And so I think being able to have peace about what's going to come to me, and knowing that I just have to focus on the things that I can really control, and then not worry about the things I can't control as much.
Absolutely. So with that being said, if you had to teach a woman in this audience to audit her own story for business value in 15 minutes, what would that look like, and what would the framework be?
I think find out for sure what you're really good at. Like me, I'm really good at storytelling. I'm really good at connecting with customers. Like sales and marketing is my strength through and through, because I know that woman, I connect to that woman so very much, and I talk about it so well. And then the parts that you lack in, like I don't like shipping. I don't like touching boxes. Like it just drives me nuts all the time. You have to really start figuring out ways to get help in the areas that you lack it as a founder, I think. And then understanding what your limitations are. Like I know as a mom, I have limitations. Like I know that I can't, and my husband, he works too, so I understand like his work schedule, and I understand the kids' schedule. So I think what I would say is like get control of all of those things, and then start plugging and playing. It's like a Tetris board. I think that's what it is. And it's like you have to plug and play in the areas that you find that you struggle a little bit. And also really understanding what can you source out. Or like I said, I started ordering groceries online. That little hour or something in the grocery store, I'm gonna go drive up and pick them groceries up. it's so simple. It's so little, but it's like more time back for me. Like seriously, you know, and I really do that so much, you know, to where, you know, because that's the only way I think I can get it all done. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. And you hit it. I mean, your storytelling is phenomenal. We see it everywhere. We see the views, the posts, all of it. We love it. Now, there is a difference between telling a story that sells a product and a story that builds a brand. Most founders only do the first. How are you super successful with that? And what did you make sure to do differently for TJL to continue to build?
I think for TJL, again, I speak from a place of truth. Like I talk about how I started with just my military 401k. Like that's all I had to start the brand with. Like I got out the military and I started the brand. I talk about it on any interview. I come from a place of truth because that's the truth. And then I talk about my struggle shopping. I talk about how hard it is to be a mom and how I'm a twin mom. I remember when I got pregnant with the twins, I wasn't ready to like announce it publicly yet because I had some issues with getting pregnant and everything. And so I wasn't really ready to talk about it. I ended up being forced to announce it earlier because I would get on live, I would talk to my customers and my face was rounding out. So used to me wearing the size large, and I crept up to the size extra large. My customers was like, hold on, I want to buy those, but you usually wear the large. Should I get the extra large? I'm like, no, get your true size. So eventually I got kind of forced to say, y'all, I'm pregnant, I'm gaining weight, because they were so used to seeing me every day, talking about the pants every day and showing up every day. So I really say all that to say it's like the way I've created a brand is from a place of honesty, a place of truth, because that is truly my story. I am a mother. I am a veteran. I started with just a little bit to get there. And I really do feel like that's the way people have connected to me. Like I don't have any other story other than the story that's the truth.
I love that. That's powerful. What keeps you going when you're tired? Like when you're like, dang, I really don't want to record this video today. Like what makes you just continue to get up and make that video?
Sometimes I'm competitive too. Like, you know, I think I played sports like a lot of years, and then obviously military. I'm super competitive. Like, and it's not about my competitors. It's like I'm not gonna quit on me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna quit on myself. That's for one. But I also I think about my daughter. I only have one daughter. You know, she's my oldest, and I think about the type of things that I want her to say about me when she gets older, like a lot of beautiful things that I say about my mother. And I don't want to be a coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'm always okay pivoting the business. But I think coming from a place of like, I just quit because it got hard or because I was tired. You know, I always understand what rocks me a little bit too. Like it could be me eating something that I probably shouldn't have ate. It made me feel tired a little bit, you know, so I really try to watch what I eat so I can keep my energy up as best as possible. And I just make sure that I'm not quitting on Tiffany.
Right.
Like I don't want to look up and I said that I stopped because it got hard. You know, life is hard, you know, and that's what I really tell myself. And I want to see this through. I think I've invested a lot. I feel like it's people who are depending on me and want me to win. And there's so many people who support me and support the brand as well. And I just want to see what it can do and how far it could go.
Yeah. Now you said it. You already took my next words. You invested a lot already into TJL. How did you continue to? You said you 401k. You've had a personal investment there. How do you continue to scale it with the capital infusions and continue to? What are some resources?
You know, pitch competitions, grants. Like I actually won first place in the pitch competition with the deck as well. You know, and just a lot of community resources that I was able to find. A lot of times when I first had the twins and like they were napping, I was just looking for grants online, and they would take a nap. I would go record a video. I would come back. You know, I've always been very resourceful. and I always have utilized the time that I had to really try to, figure out how can I do this even with the kids? What are my limitations? Like, what can I do from home? What can I do from my computer? What can I do from right here? And so I applied to a lot of grants. I did a lot of pitch competitions, and I really locked into finding ways. And thankfully now with TikTok, I don't really have to like do too much of setting up anything. I can talk from my kitchen, I can talk from the car, I can talk from wherever when it comes to just sharing my story with people. And that helps me scale a lot because my marketing budget is not so high. I'm able to do organic content and connect with my customers without the stress and struggle all the time of like these very beautiful curated things every time.
Yeah. I know we're getting close to time, but I got to ask you these last two questions. All right. So one you know about, one you don't know about. So here we go. 5 years from now, when TJL is much bigger, what is one part of your current story you feel like you're going to have to stop telling because you've outgrown it? And what's the story you'll tell instead?
I think the story I wish mompreneurs would, that I've stopped telling even today, is if I can do it. I absolutely know that I can. You can always do it with the right resources and with the right things in place. It's not easy, but it can be done. And I think that's the different story that I want to tell is saying that like, hey, it can be done, instead of at the beginning, I used to wonder if can I do this? Oh my goodness, am I going to be able to do this? And I would ask the question like that a lot, but now it's not a question. It's more of like an exclamation point. And it's like, it's going to get done.
Absolutely. Now, two more. I know you mentioned this numerous times, one of the organizations that you want to work with and kind of meet. One is Shaq, and then two is also
oh gosh, yes.
JC Penney's. I'm putting that filler out here so that anybody knows him or anybody. Please tell Tiffany.
Yes, I would love to meet Shaq, and I would love to work with JC Penney. Which
we gotta put it out there. The more we talk about it, the more that it comes to truth.
That's true.
But then also, if you could compare your entrepreneurship journey and motherhood to a car, what would it be and why?
Oh, I'm not that savvy on cars. But whatever it would be fast. It would be a two-door. It would be something cute. It would be something fancy.
I love it.
That's whatever it is. It will be something like that, a Camaro or something. I don't know, but I think life is truly fast paced. I think so much about the discipline that we've had to have in the military. I think so much about the discipline that you have to have being an athlete. So much of that ties back to the discipline that I have to have being a mother. I keep a really tight schedule. I keep a very tight regimen. And I don't deviate from that for almost anybody. It's rare that you'll find me doing anything out of the norm of my regular schedule. And I think the boring stuff is the growth stuff. I think it's times where it seems very monotonous and very tedious and things like that. But it's so true that I cannot get up in the morning if I'm not whole, if I haven't, worked out and stretched, if my schedule feels all janky, if the kids don't have what they need. So I write a lot of things down. My Google Calendar is my bestie, and I say no to things that make me feel, stress. And then I say yes to things that make me feel really great, like this. Like this made me feel really good. I love connecting with other mompreneurs, and my hope is that another mom changes from a question mark to an exclamation mark, and she says like, "Can I do it?" And it switches to, "Yes, I absolutely can."
Tiffany, that's the perfect closer right there. Change every mom from a question mark to exclamation mark. That doesn't get any better than that. That's your most gem right there. Tiffany, you left us a bunch of gems. Don't wait for it. Go get it. Pick yourself up after children. Don't wear the leggings. Got that one. And you have to lose to gain. Well, can you tell us where to find you on all socials, where to follow your journey, where to shop, and then any other advice or any other tips that you have before we close up?
Yes. So if y'all know any tire girls, refer her to us. We're TJL Collection on all platforms. And then I'm Tiffany Jones Lewis on LinkedIn if you would like to connect with me there. I love connecting with other moms who are in business because, if you know, it's not easy, but we always absolutely can do it.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much. This was great. I would also love to know, you may have already, just quickly, I know we have a couple minutes, would love to know how you guys got connected and kind of where that friendship and started and how y'all got here today. I feel like it's always fun to know. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. If you don't know somebody or if you're going to an event and that's the biggest thing for women is like go out, get out there. If you have to bring a friend, but make sure that you're showing up in those spaces. And I think you guys are a great testament to that of like, I'm sure y'all got connected at some point and now y'all have a great relationship for being able to do things like this. So would love for you to just kind of briefly talk on that.
Yeah, Tiffany's got the floor, so I'll let her take it over.
Yeah, so Peyton is actually a veteran entrepreneur as well. And we had a mutual friend who had met us both. And he bugged us for like a matter of months. I mean, months about like meeting each other. And we were like, okay, anyway, I'm busy, she's busy. Like we did that. We brushed each other off for a really, really long time. But at some point he wouldn't let up. So shout out to Michael. He made us talk to each other. And literally from the first time we met, literally from the first time we met, just like understanding each other's drive, both former athletes, both really invested in like women's sports in the space, and just coming from a place of like really wanting to grow and go to the next level.
Very cool. I love that. Awesome. Well, it looks like, I mean, I know, thank y'all so much for just sharing all of your really great insights. I feel like that was amazing. I feel like I know there were some people that were putting in the LinkedIn chat just like, oh my gosh, that was such a great point, and I totally connect with that and all those things. So I think it's also great for people just to hear like, oh, I'm going through that too. Like this is amazing that everybody's kind of feeling that way. And I think you had some really great insights for people to leave with. Anything else that y'all want to leave before we wrap up?
No, if y'all want to connect with me, I'm here. I'm on LinkedIn as well. And I would love to connect.
Same, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much. I will go ahead and wrap y'all up and then we will move on. Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Awesome. Well, that kind of wraps up the morning for our sessions. I know next we're going to go into a lunch break. Want to give everybody some time to be able to step away, maybe take a call if you need to, maybe go grab some lunch if you need to really quickly. And then we will reconvene here at 11:45. So you have about 30 minutes to go do what you need to. I'm going to put like a waiting screen on here. Make sure that you come back. We have a really great session coming up after this. It's going to be with Madison Clark with the McKinney EDC and Lindsay Pittard with the Women's Business Council Southwest. So super excited to be able to hear from them, hear their takeaways and all the really great things that they have to share. Their session is You Don't Have to Do It Alone, How to Tap into Local Resources to Grow Your Business. So super excited to hear from them so that they can share all of the really great things that you can tap into within the entrepreneurial ecosystem. But for now, I'll give everyone 30 minutes for a lunch break and meet us back here at 11:45. Okay. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed their lunch. I hope you had time to go take care of anything that you need to. And I hope that you're ready to be back and dive into the next session that we have. We have some really great speakers for our next one. I know I say that about all of our sessions, but we really just do have a stacked lineup this time. So super excited to be able to introduce our next panel that we have coming up. This session is You Don't Have to Do It Alone, How to Tap into Local Resources to Grow Your Business. I'm super excited to welcome Madison Clark. She is the Director of Business Retention and Workforce Development at McKinney EDC, and she's also the owner of SoftRock of McKinney. And then to moderate that conversation, we have Lindsay Pittard, and she's the Vice President of Operations and Strategy at Women's Council. So, okay. So I'm gonna
Hello.
Hi, Madison.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
It's good to see you. Welcome, everybody, for joining us back from lunch break. So hopefully we've got a little go juice in our tank to carry us through this conversation. So first off, I'm Lindsay Pittard. I'm with the Women's Business Council, as Kara mentioned. Just high level, we certify women-owned businesses and we help you grow. So we provide not only educational and business development educational classes and ways to enhance your business, but we also certify you as a woman-owned business. We also offer small business enterprise certification if you're looking to do business with major corporations as well as government entities on a local level. We are your go-to resource. So Madison, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Lindsay. Again, happy to be here. Thank you to the deck and to those of you tuning in today. It's a great time to be a mom and an entrepreneur and lots of resources to tap into. As Lindsay mentioned, I am the Director of Business Retention and Workforce Development here at the McKinney Economic Development Corporation. And my husband and I own a small business. We bought into a franchise a couple years ago. So my role in recruiting companies to McKinney and then helping them grow and expand once they're here is really even more personal to me, since I also sit on the side of the table that is, the chief IT officer and the chief CEO and the one that fills the gas tank when the van needs filled and all of the above. So looking forward to the conversation today, Lindsay.
Well, and I think, Madison, that's such a good segue into kind of our first question, and kind of basically the biggest question of all the conversation is just how do you do it all? How are you wearing both hats as not only a business owner, but also somebody that's working in economic development?
Yeah, absolutely. Really, I think, hearing some of the women that were sharing earlier today in the summit, I'll echo even what I've heard there too, and it's very personal for me as well. It's often knowing your strengths, knowing what you're not great at, knowing your weaknesses, really surrounding yourself with the right tribe, the right circle. My husband is my biggest cheerleader and my biggest fan, and we are very opposite, and so that creates its own set of friction. But then it also really creates a opportunity for us when we know we're on the same page and we just look at things differently, but that gives us different perspectives and then we can move forward accordingly. And really being very certain in my yeses and very certain in my nos. So there was a time where I was not doing any after hours events, and I really had to say, okay, my emotional bandwidth is right here, right now. And there's, as anything, I mean, as ladies, we understand that even our bodies have seasons, and understanding what season I'm in personally, what season my family's in. Our kids in sports right now are this is we're in Maycember, so everything is happening in May for whatever reason. But really, I would say, how do I do it all? It's one bite at a time. It's what can I do that's in front of me today that I can be most successful in, that will have the best long-term benefit, I can scroll Instagram or TikTok or whatever all day, and that's in front of me, but is that going to have the best long-term benefit for me as a person, me as the organization with the EDC, and me and my company? Probably not. But there are times too where I am scrolling and getting rabbit trailed on other home improvement, home construction businesses and what they're doing, and I'm getting all kinds of ideas. And so it's managing energy, managing my yeses, managing my nos, and really asking for help when I need it, because I need a lot of help.
I think we all do, and I think that's I'm sure there's a lot of ladies that are on the call today that are just kind of nodding their head in agreement that they, are trying to juggle. And Madison, if you can give us just kind of perspective from your two kind of lanes, how much time are you committing? I mean, you've got a full-time job and then you've got a business on the side, right? Yep. So like, what is your time split between those two lanes?
Yeah. Again, on the seasonal aspect of it. So right now I'm in a heavy season of my 9-to-5, right? My economic development career. And I love what we do. We get to pour into companies on a greater scale. And so that's requiring a lot of my physical bandwidth, my mental bandwidth, emotional, and primarily my husband pretty much runs our business, our soft rock business. And I will do marketing in chunks. So I kind of have moments where I'm sprinting, right? So I'll plan 3 months of social content and a couple hour, an evening for a couple hours. And then I'm just logging on, walking to the car and liking and responding to things as I can, really using my time intentionally. And, if I'm sitting in a doctor's office, right, what can I do that will benefit my business in that 20-minute time where I'm waiting for the doctor to come get me, or a kid or whatever, versus like, let me just scroll mindlessly with no intent, right? So it's really having to be intentional, even in the small moments. And then I'll add too, I also am in this phase where I will intentionally make myself do something non-productive, because I like to achieve, and I like to drive and dream and go. This is my little secret for the group here in our group that we're chatting with, but I have a love of plants that I've found. And so I watch like how to propagate and what plants do best in this light versus this light. And it's like my mindless way to decompress, right? Yes. But I sometimes like literally sit down and make myself, I've got to do some mindless, non-productive work, right?
Right. And I think that's so true because, and I don't run a business, right? But I am a mom and I work a 9-to-5-ish job, right? And so I see it so many times where we put ourselves last, or, and kind of what you're alluding to is kind of identifying what your boundaries are, and kind of, and it's hard and sticking to those. But I think too, talking about with this topic of leaning into the resources that are available to you. A lot of entrepreneurs hear that, right? And especially in this DFW kind of ecosystem, there are so many resources and organizations available. So, and half the time, no one knows where to start, or they get overwhelmed with the options. So I'm curious, from your position at the McKinney EDC, what are you seeing in terms of some local resources that you recommend business owners tap into?
Yeah, great question. I'll start with a quick little shameless plug on the EDC specifically, and then we'll broaden it to that may help some others too. So in McKinney, we have a fund called the Innovation Fund, and the goal is to help fund give non-dilutive capital to technology startups who have 2 employees, have either raised $500,000 or invested $500,000, and will put their headquarters in McKinney for at least 3 years. And additionally, they need to be in the technology entrepreneurship startup space. So through those efforts, we have invested checks from anywhere from $50,000 up to $250,000. Again, of non-dilutive capital. So we're not taking equity in someone's company.
Which is huge.
It is huge. And our equity really is, this is not the political correct terminology, but put your butts in seats in McKinney, dive into the ecosystem, right? And I'll talk to you about what the ecosystem looks like. So we launched something called Innovation Unwind when we started the Innovation Fund. And really that's a kind of quasi after hours event. So typically it starts around 4:30, goes till 6:30. And it's a gathering basically of 100 plus people that are in the entrepreneurship space of all sizes and in varieties, right? It's not only technology. And then there's corporate partners who join, there's funding partners who join. And something that we started early on with this program is we designate on your name tag whether or not you're a startup or a funder. So you can really tailor your message accordingly. If I'm going up to Lindsay and I know that I'm fundraising and I see that Lindsay is in the funding space, I may target my message a little bit differently to Lindsay than if she wasn't a fellow founder, right? And so really trying to help break those barriers to ease conversation is something that's been really critical and key for us. Secondly, we worked with Plug and Play to, it's a Silicon Valley based organization that helps connect startups and corporate partners. And there's several different kind of avenues of engaging with them. But if you're not following, if you're not following Plug and Play, if you're not following the deck, if you're not following the Women's Business Council, sign up for those email alerts, tap into the resources like today that are critical and key for understanding what the ecosystem shows. I will also say something that was really helpful for me and my husband personally when we started SoftRock. I reached out to some universities in the area and said, hey, what resources do you have? And came to learn that, University of Texas at Dallas, for instance, they have a group that does research and GIS capabilities. And I said, one of our target markets is homeowners with pool decks. And so I said, hey, can you look in all these 10 zip codes and find out where each home is that has a pool deck? And I then received raw data and a map showing which homes have pool decks that really helped inform my marketing efforts. And that was all free. Let me say it louder, free, right? Which is always key and helpful for small businesses when, we're trying to rub two pennies together and make it look like $1, right?
Yeah.
And so tapping into university partners, tapping into the organizations, like I said here today, and really, signing up again for those email alerts, following them on social media is huge. And like LinkedIn. And then also I would say too, when you're at the happy hours and events, really build your circle, right? Build your team. And sometimes it's being transparent and saying, who's your bookkeeper and what are you using? How are you doing social media? And what have you found is working for you? And what's not working for you? Another tip and kind of resource and things I've done before is if I'm going to, say I'm going to go to a Capital One pitch deck competition that's, between the deck and Capital One, I may look at the ladies or the individuals on the list ahead of time, throw that link in ChatGPT or whatever AI system you use, and say, hey, who should I connect with? These are my goals of going. I'm looking for a person that does this, or I want to learn more about this. Who should I connect with based on my goals and help me merge those goals, right? But using tools at your disposal. I don't even have a paid ChatGPT version. One day I will. But it's one of those, like, I'm going to use what I can that's free at my disposal right now,
That's a great suggestion. And, so at the Women's Business Council, we also host educational events and networking events, opportunities for us. We cannot say it loud enough, is business is doing building relationships, right? It's all about who you know and how they trust you, right? And so the more that you are visible and the more that you are seen and building that reputation of trust and credibility in your services, it goes so, so far. But I know from an entrepreneur standpoint that all of these resources and all of these opportunities and all of these events that you could be attending can get you away from the desk, right? And some of you may be in that smaller startup phase where you're like, I can't be away for that long. And what I would suggest from that perspective is do your homework, do your research on the entities, the organizations, the events that you are being promoted, and really fine tune what is your marketing plan and how do these opportunities weave into that, right? So even with a certification perspective and the fees that may be associated with that is like, how is that marketing ROI for your business? Are you leveraging the resources versus attending all these happy hours, right? And I love your point, Madison, about using AI to be able to say, hey, I'm going to this event. Here are the clients I want to talk to. What should I be, fine tuning my conversation with them about, or what's new for their organizations? That's a great tool to use because going into these events and opportunities and having your homework ready to go makes it so much more fruitful, right? It's not, oh, I wasted another hour away from the desk or away from my family or whatever that might be. So I think that's a really great tip. And like you mentioned too, free, right?
Yeah.
Free.
I will say too, I'm extroverted and I get energy from people and love being in those areas. And so I can go to an event and then I'm like, I just talk to people about their dog and like, man, I would love to hear about their dog for another 20 minutes, but like, I also have a needle to move forward. Right. And so for me, it's, hey, I need to make sure that I'm staying in line and having productive conversation. And I can talk about, like, I love to hear people's stories and what makes them tick. But knowing the time, it's that energy management again, right? Knowing the time and the place for those types of things, and keeping things moving towards the direction that you need to. You do have to be a little bit selfish, and you do have to say no when you need to say no, and you say yes when you need to say yes, right?
Yeah, and I think you also hit the nail on the head with kind of creating those boundaries for yourself when you're attending these events and opportunities, and knowing what your mission is while you're going into that. I do think it's really important to kind of reiterate leveraging the network, right? So Madison, you kind of shared, I'm looking for a new bookkeeper, or I don't know how to use these new tools in LinkedIn or social media or whatever it might be. There are so many people that are willing to help and support because, oftentimes at the Women's Business Council, we say lift as you climb.
Yes.
So it's really and truly, it is so incredible to see in our ecosystem that everyone is really and truly helpful and wanting to support those alongside them. And so lean into these networking opportunities. At the Women's Business Council, we have 1,300 women in our database, if you will. And so if I'm looking for a promotional products company, I'm going to go to that directory. And that's a lot of the case when you go to a lot of chambers and organizations. The DAC is a really great resource too, of saying, hey, staff at this organization, who do you know that does this really well? Can you help make that introduction for me to just take it and run with it? So Madison, can you kind of dive a little bit more into kind of building your circle?
Yeah.
Whether it's legal or marketing, like what are those kind of things that you would see from a business owner's perspective?
For sure. So I'm going to come back to that, Lindsay, because I want to go back to one other resource that I have found very helpful and also free. And so I want to share with all of our friends what free resources. So I might be a little psycho, but if you sign up for a library card, most likely wherever you live, there's all kinds of free resources through McKinney Public Library, right? So LinkedIn Learning is free through McKinney Public Library.
I love that.
I know. So again, I might be a little psycho. I am washing dishes at night when kids are in bed or whatever that looks like. And I'm listening to how to build a marketing plan on LinkedIn, right? Or how to talk to a customer that is irate, whatever that looks like. There are literally thousands of resources. And I keep a running list. I have sticky notes here on my desk of things I want to dive into when I have that time that can continue moving things along. So LinkedIn Learning, another free resource, and your public library. Now Circle, going back to the Circle. So really, yes, your Circle. I mean, I'm going to start with the four walls of my house, Lindsay.
Yes.
And tell you what that looks like for us. I mean, no one starts a business because they want to be away from their family more. Well, hopefully that's not why anybody's starting a business. But generally, you know, as moms, we're starting a business so we can create a better life for our family and for our children and having more time with them. And so this has been the last month, so I'm no expert, but have had this kind of aha moment. And hey, my kids see the grind and the hustle that my husband and I, that we do on a daily basis. And how can I involve them in helping load the van before a job, or helping make samples? I mean, we make tiny little samples or bigger samples. And also it makes for fun content. People love kids and dogs, and like post the kids and dogs. I don't care if you have a CPA business, there's a way to put a kid and a dog in it somewhere. So, so involving the kids. So one of the most recent things I've done is my daughter, who's 10, my oldest, she's getting more into technology and wanting to, she loves making money. And I'm like, okay, how can I foster this passion for her and continue to, you know, pour into her, like lift as you climb, right? Like you said, Lindsay, and as well as use it for a benefit for us as a family and us in the business. And so I said, hey, Briley, do you want to intern with us? Do you want to intern with Soft Rock? And she's like, sure, what's that mean? So I've said, hey, I will let you build some social content for us. And so she's literally gotten on CapCut, which I don't do anything on CapCut, but she plays with it and figures it out. And, you know, the kids these days, they're way more technology savvy than we are, even though we grew up with it. But so I'm like, hey, you've got 20 minutes before bed. Here's the work phone. Go create something, save it in the photos album, and I'll put it in our social content. So literally gave her 20 minutes. She went out to the garage, threw some samples down, made a really cool, cool reel. And then I, you know, got online later and plugged it into our marketing. And I've said, I'm kind of using her as free labor right now. Cause I'm like, hey, I'm going to intern. You're going to intern to see, you know, is this working? And then maybe she's like, well, how much are you going to pay me? And I'm still grappling with, is it going to be pay per post, or am I going to give her a commission if we land a job? Okay. So 4 walls. So that's kind of 4 walls. I'm looking at what resources do we have in front of us, literally. Right. And then other circle. I mean, really, you know, it's finding your place and running with it. So my husband has been in a networking group for 5 years now, and those are his people, right? It's, you know, hey, who are you? Okay, you need professional photography taken of your fashion business, or your, you know, us covering, you know, going over pool decks that are hot and slippery. Or it's, hey, what are your banking contacts? Do you have someone that's banking a small business right now? Can you introduce me? And really, really tapping into just asking those questions of people that may be in a different industry. But it's key to ask the questions when you need help, right?
Yes.
So just something that has been helpful for us.
Well, and I think too, it's, you know, you're not needing to reinvent the wheel, right? Like there are people that are using these services or leaning into each other. The other thing I wanted to kind of call out is joint ventures, right? And I preface this by saying, make sure legally you're protecting yourself in those opportunities. But I see it so often where entrepreneurs go in together on a bid opportunity where they may not be able to be at that capacity to take on a large contract, but by joining with another woman-owned business, small business, et cetera, one, it looks better from a corporate standpoint to be able to say I'm using multiple small businesses or multiple women-owned businesses. But two, you're expanding your growth and capabilities to eventually become a prime contractor, right? So I can't stress that enough, is in leaning into the network is maybe Madison, you and I can go in on a opportunity, and in the future we will be able to be independent and grab, larger contracts.
Yeah.
Sure. I know we've got a 5-minute warning, so I was just kind of curious, was there anything that we didn't touch on that you're like, man, I have to share this nugget?
Yeah. I would say broadly, again, finding the place that you can really lean in. So maybe you go to, a duck event one time and you're like, I don't know yet, but go for a month solid, or go for 6 months solid, and really like pour yourself in, and you're going to get out what you put in. Right. Yeah. And so, it's going to the Women's Business Council events, or pour yourself out, give, and inevitably you will also get. And I'll say, in McKinney too, broadly in the region, there's just a really cool ecosystem that's being built. So if you're interested in learning more about the Innovation Fund in McKinney, following our LinkedIn is going to be probably the best bet for you. And then, of course, you're always welcome to reach out, and we're happy to help get you involved and connect in the right way. But there's lots of resources to tap into, and don't be afraid to make the ask. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's a gritty world. You gotta have that grit. Know your why. The why is gonna have to be stronger than, I was sharing with Lindsay, the working the 8 to 5 and then falling asleep with my laptop on my bed at 9 p.m. when I'm trying to get some more stuff done, for the side hustle. So your why's got to be there and be strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been such a fun conversation, Madison. And I just highly encourage everybody that's joined us today, definitely reach out to both of us via social or by email, as we can continue this conversation or point you in the right directions with resources. And I love, Madison, you mentioning both the Innovation Fund and your quarterly innovation unwinds. Yes. There are just so many opportunities for us across the Metroplex. So lean into them, take the time, do the research, and leverage that network and those resources.
Yeah.
Kara, I'm going to let you come back.
Awesome. Yes, and before yeah, I was about to say, we do have a question in the chat, so wanted to ask that. I know we have a couple minutes left, but somebody said that, Madison, they'd love to hear more about who you suggest contacting at universities to learn about their research capabilities or support for entrepreneurs / new and small businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good question. I would say, so I know TWU has a women's entrepreneurship program, and I think Tracy Irby still leads that, if I'm correct. Yeah. She's phenomenal. And then again, talking to other ladies here, I don't have an exact title. Look, go on the website, find, the professor of entrepreneurship, or oftentimes there is a corporate engagement person. Maybe that's my answer. I'm thinking out loud here, so I apologize. Maybe a corporate engagement partner would be a viable option, because universities want to engage with businesses of all sizes. So reach out to them.
Absolutely. And I think you kind of hit on that. Yes, entrepreneurship professors, but honestly, a lot of the universities also have specific initiatives for entrepreneurship. I know one of our speakers this morning, Bhavna, she's with the SMU Spears Institute. So that whole institute is dedicated towards providing resources for entrepreneurs. So they would definitely be a great place to get connected. And like you said, the TWU Center for Women Entrepreneurs. If you registered through Eventbrite, you should have gotten an email this morning, and I listed some resources on there. A couple of those are some universities that you can tap into. So definitely start there if you don't have any contacts, but you know some of us that are in the entrepreneurial space, always feel free to email us as well, because we're always happy to make that connection and connect you to who you need to be connected to. But I love that. And I know we're kind of tight on time, but I wanted to ask one last question. I asked this of one of the speakers earlier today, but what is like the best kept secret in the entrepreneurial ecosystem that you wish wasn't a secret, whether that's like a resource or anything that you feel like people need to get connected to? Is there an organization, a person? Would love to just know one tiny bit of information for you to leave everyone with.
Yeah, I'm going to say the first thing that has come to mind, which really I think is going to be the LinkedIn Learning for me. It's been very helpful. I mean, the one I'm on right now is executive presence, right? And dealing with different personalities and how to speak to this person versus this person. So these are areas where I know I want to grow in. So type whatever in LinkedIn Learning, sign up for a library card wherever you live, see if there's free. I know the city of Plano has really great entrepreneurship tools through their public library as well. So I would say LinkedIn Learning. And again, I'm literally watching it while I'm doing dishes and folding laundry. And, I'm being very personal in that component, because like we all do dishes, we all do laundry, right? So it's just kind of simultaneously being productive.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo the same thing. I think it's any kind of educational, online, on-demand resources that are out there. I know that there are a lot of universities that offer some additional classes too. So just have those in the background for professional and leadership development. There's always something available.
Awesome. I love that. Well, thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for your time. I know y'all have kind of been in the chat as well. So would love for people to connect with you guys, be able to tap into the resources that you have. Everybody that registered should have my email. So if there's any speakers that you've really resonated with and you'd like to get connected to some of the resources, feel free to let me know. But I will let y'all go so that we can get our next speaker up and going. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
All righty. Okay. Well, super excited. That was a really great conversation. I always love getting to hear about the resources that are available in the ecosystem. Something that I always love to say is that we're all collaborators. We're not competitors. We all have really great resources that are available to entrepreneurs, and we want you to take advantage of as many of them as possible. It's not that you can only come to one of us. We definitely want you to take advantage of everything that's at your fingertips. So I always love getting to hear from other people in the ecosystem about the resources that they have available, because it helps me be a better connector as well, gives me more resources to refer entrepreneurs out to, and that's really what we're here for. So super excited for our next session. Honestly, I'm probably in the most need of this next section, just because I feel like this is something that everybody is trying to get a grip on, trying to figure out how can we implement this into our everyday lives. And so, of course, I'm talking about AI. How do we kind of implement that in very realistic ways for ourselves? So I have up next, our speaker is going to be Bhavani Kola. She's the founder and CEO of Ecotech Solutions, and she was also an AI 75 honoree. I was at the DRC's Convergence AI event, and she was definitely presented there with that award. So that's super exciting. I think she'll have a lot of great takeaways for everybody to leave with. But she's going to be talking about what if you had a clone, how AI lets mompreneurs be in two places at once. So with that, I'm going to introduce Bhavani, and I will let you take it from there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because I don't want to speak and then you not hear me. So give me a thumbs up if you can. I need to see the reactions on the screen. Anybody, somebody? Okay, so you can type in the chat as well to let me know if you're okay. With that said, my name is Bhavani Kola, and I want to go ahead and share my screen so we can talk about what we are going to be doing today. And let's see. There you go. If you can see my screen, give me a thumbs up as well. Perfect, perfect. So this is what I'm going to be talking about. I only have 30 minutes with you, and I want to make the best use of it. So save the questions to the end. But this is what the agenda is going to be. What if we had a clone? Let me be honest with you. If you're a mom, you can multitask. You are automatically cloning yourself. But with the help of AI, what else can you do? So this is what we are going to talk about. I'm going to demo 4 clones. I'm not going to show you how to create. I have all the resources for you where you can copy and paste. My whole idea is to show you what you can and cannot do with AI. So the first clone is going to be marketing clone. Then it's going to be operational clone, strategy clone, and customer service. With that said, meet Maria Cola. I always had a dream of having a bakery, but how do I make sure I have everything ready? So instead of putting somebody else's name, I put my name, my last name, and I used Maria there. Maria is a mom. She has 2 kids. Just like us, every day Maria has to cook, clean, do the dishes, and take care of the kids. Her Monday mornings are exactly like our Monday mornings. But with help of AI, Maria is able to maintain her social media content. Maria is able to take care of her receipts. Maria is able to take care of all the business needs that she needs to with AI. So what we're going to demo is 4 clone actions. I have something in the chat. Let me quickly take a look. Okay, perfect. So we're going to talk about the marketing post, sort receipts, set pricing, and draft DMs. And Maria is not real, but I am, and I use all the same strategies. So that's, with that said, let me go ahead, minimize, and talk about what we can do. In today's session, I'm going to be using Claude. So this is my Claude webpage. Claude AI, you can use this for any AI system. It could be ChatGPT, it could be Gemini, it could be Grok, but the whole concept is with this new AI capabilities, you are able to create your own. If it's a ChatGPT, you can create your own GPTs. If it is Claude, you can create your projects. If it's Gemini, you can create your gems. So you have that capability. What did I do? I created 4 different clones, but in the chat, I want you to type and tell me how many hours a week each mom is working in the chat. I just wanted to see what the numbers are. Are the numbers coming in? Yes, I will give you the deck. It's something that I created in 2 minutes. I'm going to show you how to create that as well. So what defines work? Absolutely. But just whatever you do, okay? Whatever you do. If you're taking care of the kids, if you're doing multiple things, just copy and paste that. Just give me the number that you are working so I can see what the numbers are. 40, 50, 60, 100, 24, I don't know, 50 plus. Okay, very good, very good. So what I've done is I'm Maria for now, and I run a bakery business, and I have to take care of my Instagram posts because, you know, being active in social media is very important. And I also have multiple emails that I have to answer. I have so many receipts that I cannot put together manually. So in today's demo, I'm going to be using Claude Cowork and Claude. So if you download Claude on your desktop, you will have all these options, but free Claude also lets you build certain things. So what I'm going to demo right now is the framework. Again, I'm going to show you what my projects are. So this is Maria's strategic clone, which talks about what strategies are important for Maria. This is customer service clone that takes care of customer service emails. And this is Maria's marketing clone. So I'm going to click on the marketing clone first. And this is what it looks like. 60, 50 plus, I get it. I mean, I see that there is a lag between the chats and what I get. So yes, we do more than what we are supposed to without getting paid for overtime. I totally get it. And let me pause for 1 second and tell you that when AI was built, you know how AI can multitask so many things? Trust me, they used a female brain to build AI. So you know what? When AI can, we can too. So here is my first clone that I'm going to demo. What this clone does, again, I give detailed instructions. These are called skills that you're giving your agent so it can respond, think like you. With that said, whatever the AI spits out, do not copy and paste it without a human intervention or you glancing over anything. Don't send it to your customers. It doesn't leave the screen until you give the go. So again, I train this, I give it all the knowledge files. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is give me this week's Instagram content, Monday through Thursday. It's May, wedding season is starting. And I just launched a new strawberry lemon cake, include an AI image prompt with each post. In Claude, I don't have the capability of creating images, but I can use an MCP that is going to be a little bit technical. So I do multitasking. All the AI tools are fighting for your subscription. So this is what I would suggest. Create a dummy Gmail account and try all the different AI tools. Why not? What works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for me, but at least you are trying all these tools. So that's my prompt. And again, this is trained on how it's supposed to respond. It understands my business. It understands my customers. It understands where I am, where my business is. So this is what I give. And here it's giving me a full week Butter and Bloom weekly content plan. May, week 1, Saturday, lemon and launch wedding season. It's giving me what stories should I post on Instagram. Tuesday, behind the scenes, it's a reel, and it's giving me the hook, what should be on the screen, the voiceover, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, call to action, which is very important. And this is strawberry lemon cake is back, the hashtag, the audio notes, and it's also giving me the prompt so I can get the image that I want. And next, it's also giving me stories. How should I post them? Should I just dump them all or post them? Remember, this AI has plethora of information on how Instagram works, what algorithms works, the search engine optimization, the hashtags. So it's giving me everything so I can improve my social media presence. Wednesday, it's asking me to give me a carousel, and it's giving me slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4, slide 5, the captions. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Bhavani, this is good, but I have to create all of that. Yes, I get it. Let me move this to the side. I totally get it. I know what you're thinking. So what we can do is this with this new AI tools, we have something called connectors. With that said, I can connect my Canva, I can connect my Gmail, I can connect my Google Drive, I can connect multiple things, and I can give permissions. So these tools can go ahead and connect to the third-party tools and build stuff for us. I know what you're thinking. Show me, Bhavani. Yes, in 1 second, I'm going to show you. So we are on Thursday right now. It's also telling me Thursday has to be a static post, and then that's the end. And it gives me a glance. And it says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so on and so forth. I use the prompt, create an image using ChatGPT, Google Gemini, whatever you want. And here's the image. And look at my prompt. I say use Canva and create a carousel. Well, it does all its 9 yards. It's giving me question 1, question 2, question 3. And then it creates a Canva carousel for me. I wish I had a bakery business. Here you go. 5 questions, everything is right here for me. So from one prompt, I go ahead and create my entire weekly social media content. Give me a thumbs up if you are okay with the first one. Oh, I know the thumbs up is going to take a while. Now, once that's done, I am going and asking it. A bride just DM me. It says, hi, my wedding is on October 12th, about 150 guests. Do you do custom wedding cakes? What's the process? And I say, you know what? Write me a reply. And here it gives me a total good reply on how my mission and vision of my business is, how I sound when I talk to my customers, and I train it with my writing style. Again, in a half an hour, we can do all of that, but these are the skills that you need to know to build an agent. Now you might say, how can I know that? In 2026, there is nothing that you don't know. You can go to any AI tool and say, I had a session with this person, and this person was talking to speed, and she was talking about projects and GPTs. I did not understand anything. Help me create a project. Trust me, the AI is going to teach you step by step, and you can tell how tech savvy you are. So the first clone is ready. Let's take a look at the second clone. So Maria is handling all her marketing needs. She builds her Instagram portfolio, the weekly prompt, and she does everything. She's all good to go. But then she also realizes Maria is with her kids at a soccer game, and she realizes that, you know what, I have so many receipts on my computer that I need to get them together. The tax is coming, or at least for myself, I need to put all of them together. So let me show you how an unstructured folder is going to be. So really quick, I am going to show you how an unstructured folder is going to be right now. It is, okay. So this is how an unstructured folder is. Remember, my goal is to have a bakery business. So here I have cakes, I have receipts, flavor ideas. So all of this I take and I dump into this one folder. AI thrives on structuring the data. So what I do is, this is all I have. And while Maria is playing with the kids, she realizes that, oh, I have to structure all of this. With Claude, you can give commands to your desktop from your phone. And what I am going to show you right now is Cowork. And here in Cowork, what I did was go to my Butter and Bloom business folder on my desktop. Simple communication. How you articulate is very important. Organize all the files into receipts, client photos, invoices, and notes. Rename each file clearly, because I don't have time to rename. I want you to scan and rename everything and create a folder for me. It goes through all the folders. And the beauty of today's AI tools is you can take a look and see how they are thinking. So here is one way of thinking. Here it runs all the commands. It's taking a look at all the information. In here, it's cleaning up for me. It reads 4 files that are unstructured, and it's naming all of them, reading 3 files. And now let me go ahead and show you how the structured folder is going to look like. I'm going to go back to my desktop, and here is the structured folder. Here you can see it has client photos. Everything has been renamed. I have invoices. Everything has been renamed again. I have notes that has been renamed again. I have receipts that has been renamed again. And then I also have a receipt tracker. So it analyzes that these are the receipts that Bhavani or Maria, is not tracking, and it creates a receipt tracker for me. So that's Claude Cowork. So we've talked about the marketing strategy. We talked about how it can access your desktop and clear up the files for you. Now, what I want you to see is my strategy clone. So this is my, I am in my chat, and here are my projects. And here, this is my strategy clone. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the strategy clone does. What I do is I give the strategy clone access to my Google Drive. So let me show you my Google Drive. Again, all of this data is being created by this AI tool. It's called synthetic data. So I created this so you can see how it works. So this is a synthetic data that I created. It has date, product, category, quantity, unit price, a regular business, Excel file. Everything has been dumped here. This is so much for me to read. So what I do is I go to the chat and I say, look at my Butter and Bloom sales tracker spreadsheet in Google Sheets. I run a custom cake bakery in Dallas. Wherever you are, you can go ahead. The more context you give, the better the output is going to be tailored to you. That's the term is called prompt engineering. And it says, let me pull your sales from Google Drive. Found it. Let me pull all the data. And here it's pulling all the data for me. What are the numbers telling me? Wedding cakes are carrying the business right now. Custom cakes are quite strong. Cookies are growing, but undervalued. So here, I'm going to pause for a minute, and I want you to read how it analyzes the entire data for me, and it gives me the information. Just 1 second, that's all. I think I lost my... trying to pull up something here. I think I lost it. Okay. Have it right here. So any questions so far? So once I have this, I'm going to copy this prompt just to show you a demo. Again, it has all the information. This is the all information. It's giving me the action items, double down on the wedding to cookie favor upsells. It says push strawberry lemon hard right now. So it not only analyzes my emails, my data, but from the data, it's giving me the trends in how my business is running. So once it does that, I am going to go ahead and say, should I raise my wedding cake prices for summer? Maybe people like to marry in summer, but how? Show me how my current per serving price compares to what the data supports. Again, when I give this prompt, it's going to analyze the link that it has from Google Drive and gives me all the information. Let's see where we are. Any comments? Any questions so far in the comments? You can comment and let me know. It's analyzing this data. So just give it 1 second while it's analyzing. I just wanted you to see how it can analyze. That's why I ran all of these before, so it doesn't lag. You booked 13 wedding orders in March through May versus December. So again, it's looking at what I did. It's looking at the trends. It's looking at my question. And because it has that skills of being an entrepreneur, marketing, data analyst, it's telling me what I need to do. Complete details on how I should run my business. There you go. Cupcake towers, update actions, everything. I can keep asking based on my needs, and it will give me the information. And now the fourth demo that I'm going to be talking about is, where is it? The customer service. Here is the first prompt. Customer email. So again, I train this clone based on how I want to respond, what my customers are, and what my style of response is, what the mission of my business is, what the goal of my business is, if it is to improve your business in the next 3, 4, 5 months. Giving all the detailed information, not giving personal information, helps the AI to customize to your needs. And also giving a little bit information about yourself. I'm very enthusiastic. Oh, I'm an introvert. I don't like to, be on social media. Anything that you want, giving generic information helps it to customize and tailor the output. So here it says, customer email. Hi, Maria. My daughter has severe nut allergy. Can you make a birthday cake that's completely nut-free? She turned 6 on June 15. That's all I said. I did not say, write an email for me or make it look like this or make it look like that. That's all I said. And because this clone knows what it's supposed to do, there you go. It gives me a detailed information, maria@butterandbloombakery.com, and it tells me the price. Again, the price is not something it's generating. Because of the pricing that I gave, it pulls up information from there. Let me go back and see if we have any questions in the chat. If you don't have any paid account, I'm not going to suggest you to take Claude or pay for ChatGPT or pay for Gemini. What I would recommend is try all the free tools with your dummy Gmail account. Test it out. I like Claude, you might not like Claude. I like GPT for different things and you might not like it. So try different things and then fix on something. If, again, these AI tools are competing for your subscription, they come out with these beautiful, amazing features every week. So shift from Claude to GPT 1 month and then GPT to Gemini the other month, Gemini to Claude the other month. Why not? So let me go back to the customer clone again and responding to negative cake review. A customer left this Google review, ordered a cake for my anniversary. It was delivered 45 minutes late and the frosting was smudged. Very disappointing for the price. And I say, write a professional response. Again, it just gives me very diplomatically, not throwing out, oh, you did not pick it up. It's not my fault. It gives me that professional email. And lastly, what I do is, this is the best part. I said, create a professional FAQ for Butter and Bloom as a downloadable PDF. And I said, include 5 questions. And it does its due diligence because this is a clone that's been working on answering my customer questions. It knows what the frequently asked questions are, and it simply creates a PDF for me in the style. And there you go. You can ask it to create a web page, ask it to create whatever you want. All right, how are we doing on time? I just want to leave some time for question and answers as well. Yes, how did I forget that? I am so sorry. I'm going to copy and paste this in the chat. How do I paste it? I'm going to paste it to, let me see, let me share and copy the link. So I pasted the link here, and Clara, maybe she can. I just got back. I got disconnected somehow. maybe did not like my link. That's
No,
the link.
that's okay.
Tara, if you can just paste it to them. And I'm trying to look
Absolutely.
at the chats. I know there's a lag, but do you all have any questions on how you can build these? That link has step-by-step instructions on how you can create. Again, if you don't know something, like I said, you can say, I attended this session about Claude projects or Chat GPT, GPTs, Google Gemini Gems. Help me create one for my business. And how do I start? Where do you start? What agent should you create? I want you to take a step back and see what's something that you do on regular basis and you felt, I wish I had someone who could help me in doing this. That's going to be your first agent. Do you want someone to create social media content? Do you want someone to reply to your reviews? Do you want someone to create presentations? So all of that information, it's dependent on you. Take a step back and think, if you had to hire 5 assistants, who would you hire? And those would be your clones.
Awesome. I love that. And I know we had a question in the chat. I did put that link in the chat as well, so everybody should be able to access it. So thank you so much for sharing that resource. I know I'll definitely be taking a look at it as well. But somebody also asked if you're able to use it to compare pricing for competitors.
You can. Again, it all depends on how you articulate. Keep in mind, AI has plethora of information. What you ask, how you ask is how your output is going to be. If you have a business, if you have a competitor, you can put both your websites, not the personal information, both the websites, and ask it to run a parallel analysis and see what and how they are doing better, how you can catch up, or what are some things that your business is not working well. It could be a data analyst, it could be legal, it could be anything. You, of course, if it's legal, you'll take one more step to get the right information, but it has all this plethora of information. What I want to share is, I want to share my screen really quick one more time so I can show you. In Claude, this is cowork. I'm going to start a new task. And all I have to do is click \, and here I have all these skills that I can use. All of these skills. And you can see it's design style, UX. I have legal if I have to come up with a compliance check, legal response. So all of these skills are available and they're pre-built by Anthropic. So you don't have to rewrite. Why am I mentioning this? Even though your prompt is not up to the mark, with these skills, it knows what your intent is. So all of these are available. You have marketing skills, you have legal skills, you have design skills, you have productivity skills, you have data analysis. So make use of all these skills that are inbuilt in any AI tool that you use. Again, for today's demonstration, I'm only showing you Claude, but there's so much more that you can do.
Awesome. I love that. I mean, I know I have a question. What do you think, I know you shared your resource. Is there any other resources people should be tapped into for kind of training yourself on these things? Or is it really just you need to get in there and play around with it and figure it out and just kind of see what's capable based on what you put in and those kinds of things? What do you think is the best course of action if you're kind of first getting started?
Ask AI. You need to ask AI what. This is a simple tip I'm going to give you. When I started researching on AI, I used AI to help me build the knowledge that I have. What do I need to know? What certifications do I need to take? I don't want to pay so much money. I only want free resources. Give me YouTube videos. We are in 2026. All of this resources, information, courses, knowledge is absolutely free. But you need to know what questions you need to ask. To do that, you need to know exactly what you want. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do 6 months from now, 1 year from now? And if you have a clear picture of what that is, trust me, asking questions becomes so much more easier.
Awesome. I love that. Well, any other last tidbits of information you want to leave with everybody?
Sure, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a grandmother, you're a sister, you're an aunt, no matter what you are, I want you to try this week to use one AI any AI tool or create a clone and tag me. I want to see what you're doing. And if you're struggling with something, do not hesitate to reach out to me and say, Bhavani, this is what I'm planning to do. What tools do you have? What can I do? I'll be more than happy to, because my mission has been spreading the AI literacy and reducing the gap. And I'm an educator myself, and we educators always like to share information. So don't hesitate to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Bhavani Kola is my LinkedIn. You're working on something, your kids are struggling with SAT, let them build a mini GPT, let them build a mini project or co-work to help them with SAT like my son did. Anything, AI is here to help. There's nothing in 2026 that you can think of and it cannot do if you don't have the passion and the mission.
Awesome. I love that. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the chats and I just get carried away.
No, you're good. Thank you so much for sharing all of these really great insights. I know you shared your LinkedIn where people can connect with you. And obviously, we are just super excited that you were able to share your wisdom with us today. I know I'm going to be taking away some things that I didn't know beforehand. So that's really great. Thank you so much. And if everybody wants to connect with her, I know that information is in the chat. So if you want to connect with her, I highly recommend. But thank you so much, Bhavani. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. They asked me about the Claude version. This is the paid version, but I have free GPT and I have free Gemini. I keep switching. This month is Claude, next month is GPT, and the next month it's Gemini, and the next month it's Grok. It's my money, so I decide where I spend it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Okay. Well, that was a really great fourth session. I know I learned so much that I didn't know beforehand. So I'm really excited to get around and play around with all of the different GPTs that there are. I know I could probably do a better job of exploring myself. So I think now this gave me a really great platform to kind of get started with that. So if you feel like you're still trying to catch up, just know that you're not the only one, but this is a great opportunity. It's better now than never. So just kind of get in there, play around with it, and before you know it, you'll be a pro. So I'm super excited about that. I know next up we do have our keynote with Brittany Grignon-Hayes, but I'm going to give everybody just a couple minutes, maybe like 10 minutes for everyone to go have a bathroom break, go grab maybe a drink or something to come back so that you're locked in for our keynote. So I will put that up on the screen. If everybody could be back around let's say 1 o'clock, maybe a little bit before that, but we will jump in with Brittany here soon. So I'll put that on the screen and I'll see y'all all in a couple minutes. All right. Okay. I hope everybody had a chance to go take care of anything that they needed to. Wanted everyone to just be able to fully focus on this next session for our keynote. I'm super excited to welcome our next two speakers. I have personally gotten to know them over the past couple weeks, and they have just been amazing people that have really poured into, yes, the entrepreneurial community, but also just the community of women here in DFW, especially. She's going to talk a little bit about it, but Sessions Pilates just launched a grant program that I'm sure she'll talk about. But I got to go to their launch event, which was Sound Session, a couple weeks ago. And let me tell you, they know how to throw a party and make people feel so celebrated. And so I'm super glad that I've gotten to build that community with them, but also so excited for you guys to get to build that community with them today as well. So I'm going to be introducing Brittany Renan-Hayes. She's going to be talking about her experience with Session Pilates, and that conversation is going to be moderated by Molly Grace Brown, one of her team members, and I'm super excited for y'all to hear from them both. They're going to be talking about how to turn your obsession into your empire, building a business while raising a family. And with that, I'm going to bring them both to the stage so that they can kick it off. All right.
Hi,
ladies,
Kara. Thank you.
Of course. I will let y'all take it from here.
Thanks, Kara. Such a beautiful introduction, by the way.
Yes, it was such a joy having you there with us at Sound Session. And I'm so excited to introduce myself, and more importantly, to introduce Session founder and owner, Brittany Renan-Hayes. Like Kara said, I am Molly Grace Samble. Different last name than what she said. I have a 2-year-old and I'm married, and I just keep forgetting to, say my new last name. So Molly Grace Samble, and I have been lucky enough to stand alongside Brittany and this journey since the early days of Session. 2018 is when I came on. Brittany opened Session Pilates in 2016. So today is a little special for me because not only am I moderating this conversation, but I truly have had a front row seat to it all these years. I have really seen Brittany through so many phases of life, from young, hungry, scrappy. Scrappy, we're sitting in her kitchen counter in her apartment that was across the street from our uptown studio for our marketing meetings, to now she is this incredible business owner, wife to her business partner, mom to 2, Gigi and Miles, who I know she is escaping by sitting outside today.
Yeah. Any interruptions, y'all? Let me apologize now, as I'm on my back patio trying to get a moment.
Yeah, you do what you got to do. But one thing is always true about Brittany, and I will scream this from the rooftops, y'all. She works harder than anyone I have ever met, and it is truly such a pleasure to work alongside her and build what we love to call the obsession. So I'm really excited to get started on this conversation and give y'all a deeper look at how Brittany has gotten to where she is today, how Session has gotten to where it is today, and how we've gotten to the launch of the Session Foundation. Hi, Gigi.
Hi.
A special guest.
There we go.
Oh,
We do have
yeah.
a special guest.
Okay, Brittany, talk to us a little bit about what life looked like before Session.
Man, and yeah, Molly Grace, it's appropriate that you're moderating this, by the way. Thank you for reigning in the chaos. Life before Session, y'all. It's kind of funny sitting back and looking at this, knowing that Session's 10 years old now, and just trying to recap on how it all became the way it is. And it's one of those things that, as I reflect back before, my life truly does. It all lines up, and it makes a lot of sense that I get to do what I'm getting to do with Session, and that it has been just something that has naturally and innately been a part of my life. And what I mean by that is, I'm so sorry. Okay, you can go jump on the trampoline. Okay. No, you got to go around. Sorry, y'all. And so, Eddie, I think about it, and it's it does. It all all arrows point north for it. Everything from at a young age, I was that hyperactive kid. I've always was busy. I was one of those kids that was in all the sports, multiple sports at all times. And then you get into high school, and it was the same thing. And even through while I was doing all my sports, I started to work part-time there. And then the health and wellness aspect in my personal life, my dad was always in the healthcare industry on an admin side, but that was always there. And also just personally for my, I witnessed both of my family, both my parents go through some massive health concerns, health scares as I was growing up. And so health and wellness was just like so apparent to me. And then here I was, this busy bee, just always, whether what sport it was, whatever, just was consumed with movement. And it was just how I like got an escape, I guess, as a child. And you fast forward and it was just all those things like so present in my life. I get to college and you get asked that question, like, what do you want to do with your life? And it was like, I'm going to do what I've always been doing. And that was, I keep moving, keep working out. I was obsessed with movement. And I worked a lot. And so when I got to college, kinesiology, and I don't know if I got to say this, but I'm born and raised here in Dallas. Like these are my roots. I went up the road to UNT, didn't go far away. And, sitting in college, like trying to figure out what made my heart happy, because that was the other thing I took to heart. My parents were like, do something that makes you happy. You're going to spend a lot of time doing it, so you might as well love it. So I took it to heart and I was like, I love movement. I love understanding exercise and, how to do it functionally. And so kinesiology made sense. And even through college though, like college was a thing that I held down 3 jobs. Like I'm a busybody. I've always been. And it's kind of interesting to be on the other side 10 years, into session, kind of looking back, being like, man, I don't know if much has changed truly of just like, what it takes to get something off the ground. It's just like having that work ethic behind you. When I, from the day when, like I said, 3 jobs through college, finished that, got out of college, and it was like, all right, time for my big girl career, right? Like I'm going to hone in and do corporate America. I didn't know what that was. And y'all, it's kind of funny. I did 2 weeks out of college. I got hired to do a recruiting job. I was recruiting like a headhunter kind of thing. And it was at a desk, and I lasted 2 weeks. It just wasn't for me. I couldn't sit still. Like I was just like, I can't do it. So fortunately, my best friend at the time, still to this day, was the manager at Lululemon, and she got me a job, and it was my job. It was my dream come true of a career. And it was kind of funny because it was also kind of frowned upon my family. Like they were like, you just got a college degree and now you're doing retail. And so, but I absolutely loved it. And the reason why is Lululemon, the phenomenal company that it is, at that time, there was only 2 stores in the DFW area, and they would literally pay their employees to go work out, like just to go to all the fitness concepts and do all the things. And I got promoted to my job was to go find fitness professionals. And I got to give them like massive gift cards, like all free Lululemon, which is, so of course, like anyone saw me coming to their class, they were like, hey, I want to be friends with you. Come get to know me. And I was like, great. And so again, it naturally, like that movement was still a part of it. And because I loved it so much, I got to rub elbows and get to cultivate amazing relationships with, at that time, this is like back in 2010, with what I sought to be like some of the best fitness professionals in the DFW area. And, and I got to know them. And it was through that like I got to dabble in all different modalities and all different styles of movement and get to explore what avenue I wanted to go further. And that's where like I became yoga certified, spin certified, CrossFit. I did them all. And then, I landed on Reformer Pilates, and Reformer Pilates was just the one that made sense for me. And it was also the modality for me that it taught me the most about my body. And I think also in that time of someone who is just a mover who doesn't mind working. It was something that as much as I loved teaching, I also loved taking, which spoke a lot to me because I was like, okay, like there's something here. There's so many levels to it. And so before session, I was just, my life, it was a lot of the same, but still very chaotic. I was saying yes to everything. I mean, up until I opened a session, I worked multiple jobs, just trying to make it all happen in the fitness industry. And yeah, but it's just, it's kind of funny to look back at it. I'm like, it all kind of
Not
makes
much
sense.
has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
A
all
lot has changed, but at the same time, nothing has changed.
Yeah, so much has changed.
You are who you are.
Where it started,
Yeah.
it all tracks. It all tracks.
Yeah. So a lot of times we talk about how when you were at this point in your career, teaching at other fitness studios, running other fitness concepts, you got to a point where you were like, I don't think that Dallas needs another fitness studio, but I think they could use another fitness studio that is run differently than what I'm seeing, which was really kind of that thing that pushed you to open up sessions. So talk a little bit about that and what that shift was like for you.
Absolutely. So, so it was being in the industry, and I got to teach at, such a wide variety of spots, places, and I got to manage and train and, get experience. And, at the time I was teaching at Beyond Studios, which is one of the first boutique concepts here in the DFW area. And Brandy, the owner of it, she was such an innovator. She really she was like, let's try it. If this is a thing, let's try it. And so under that, I got to try my hand at a lot of different modalities, like trampolines and bar, and just as well as reformer and spin and all the things. And getting into this industry, when I got into it, I started understanding how much I loved it. It's passion. It's a lot of heart. Like that innately, I feel like any entrepreneur, that has to be at some point of the foundation for any of us to decide to go all in. But the other side of it that I started to realize was how much I was genuinely obsessing about the modality of reformer Pilates. Like at that time I was living on my own, and I literally didn't have a TV by choice, because all I wanted to do was watch on my computer. There was a Pilates platform that had all these online reformer workouts. All I wanted to do was watch these reformer workouts and learn more about it. And all I wanted to do was curate playlists. And I had the realization of wow, I am totally fine, and how much this is consuming my life. Honestly, I don't even think I realized it was consuming my life, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And on the other side of that, as much as I loved the modality and I felt like there was a really big gap in how studios were ran and how they were cultivated. When I came around into this industry, it was very much, and still to this day, our, instructors are 1099s, right? They're independent contractors, and everyone approached it in that sense. It was very, everyone held things close to the chest. These are my moves. These are my clients. These are my playlists. The collaboration was such a miss. It was such a massive opportunity. And also, instructors genuinely wanted a home. This is their home studio. This is where they can pour into their people. And again, at that time, and still, a lot of fitness professionals, you would have to spread yourselves out, and you'd have to work at multiple places to be able to make it all happen and come together. And so me understand, once I decided, I was like, man, this fills up my cup in more ways than I could ever explain. But there's such a miss in that it's not setting us up for fitness professionals to thrive. So that was the biggest inspiration behind me making the decision to jump and be like, okay, although I don't think Dallas needs another fitness concept at this time in 2016, I was like, it does need to be ran differently though. And that was my whole take on it, was just I want to create a space where the team feels involved. They feel seen. They benefit from everything that we're trying to do. They understand the more united we are in doing it, we all thrive, we all rise together. And that was the problem I was trying to solve in creating Session.
And you did a great job at it.
Thanks, bro.
Okay. So moving on through to talk about, you kind of hit on it a little bit, but how much community drives everything that we do at Session. When you opened the first studio, you had a backing of a community that was already there from your time already spent in the group fitness industry. Brittany is incredibly humble, but she had over 100 founding members of people who purchased memberships before she even opened the doors to our Uptown studio. So you obviously started with that one location. We have since expanded to 7 all throughout North Texas and then 1 in Nashville. How much of that growth do you owe to the community? How much of that growth comes back to the community?
I mean, you know this answer, Molly.
Yeah, I can answer all this for you.
You know all these answers. That's true. It's none of one wouldn't have been one without the community. Like 2 wouldn't have been 2. Like when I sought out to start Session, there was only a roadmap. There was only a vision of 1. And looking back, I felt like I was like, man, if I, like, if only we would have like had it clear in the beginning, but it all played out exactly how it's meant to play out. In that I do like this, like how with the vision of 1, we poured in, we like went all in, we leaned in. And because of the way the community showed up, the demand was there for the second one. And that's, and that's what pushed me to open the second. And it's kind of like when I say it a lot, like to answer your question, this whole thing happened because of community. Community created the demand. And because of that, we've been able to expand, and we only expand when the demand is there and asking us to. The caveat to that is our growth is because of our community, like strongly in DFW. And then us taking the leap to go to Nashville is that, like, the way that came about is the fact that we've been able to cultivate some amazing people on this team, and being able to develop and trust and just, like have someone like Liza to go to Nashville and take it on has been like something I never thought could happen within, never foresaw for sure. Yeah. But like the 6 in Dallas all came about due to the community, how they lifted us up, how the demand was there. Yeah. As you know, like once we navigated through, like to give a little bit more coloring on that, like 2016, we opened the Uptown location and it sold out within a few months. It hit that max capacity. And it was a double-edged sword in that we had so many beautiful long-standing clients who had unlimited memberships, but I can't get access. I can't get the value of the unlimited because I can't get in. So I love you, Britt, but we got to go somewhere else. And it was like, oh, wow, we're losing people. So then it gave me the courage to open up Lakewood, the second location. And that location, thank God you were there, sis. But that one met quickly to the same demand, like a lot, like even quicker than the Uptown one did, which again gave us even more confidence to go and open up our Lovers locations shortly after. And I mean that, like those immediate 3 were based off of this community lifting us up, supporting us, and showing up the way they did. And then COVID happened, and COVID,
wild ride.
and that is where we doubled down on our community. Like the way we pivoted. Like, it's funny. I look back on this journey of Session. It's like, there's been some hard times. We've been faced with some hard times, and it's definitely, as a company, it either made us do one or 2 things. We either doubled down on exactly who we are and what we believed in, or we pivoted, and we pivoted fast and without a blink of an eye. And in COVID, we pivoted. We made an online platform immediately, and we made sure we could stay connected to our people, and that saved us. It did. It kept us connected to our community. And when we got to open back up, they came in even stronger. Yeah. And, you hear me say it all the time, but after COVID, that's where I gained a lot of confidence and a lot of trust in our community and our team of what we can build. And that's when we were like, okay, let's go a little bit further out of where I've been doing this thing for so long, let's go
Yeah.
north. And we go to Plano, and we went to Frisco, and it, and it keeps going from there.
Yeah.
But
Okay, let's talk about obviously we've grown exponentially over the last decade. Let's talk a little bit about the systems, those non-negotiables, things that you put in place from the get-go. And that's everything from how we operate with our profit share model all the way through. We're still doing this every day and putting in new systems, new hires to help us systemize more and work more efficiently. How important is that? And like keeping the session brand intact while growing as fast as we grow?
I think it's so important that like, it's almost like I look at the systems in which we've built over the years, and I wouldn't say they're the pillars of our business, but like some double dip into being and becoming the pillars of the company. And one of those right out the gate, and it goes back to my approach in creating session. I saw a problem I needed to solve. And that was like, I wanted a team. I wanted a team, period. I wanted people to support each other. I wanted a team to lean in. I wanted them to care about the socks that were being sold and just the appearance of the studio.
You wanted them fully bought in.
I wanted the buy-in, and I was like, how do I solve that problem? And, taking 1099 instructors who are just bebopping around and be like, no, this is where I want to pour into. And so I had to answer that question, and it was the profit share model that we had from day one, really helped address that. And it did, like from the get-go, our team very much understands, like, we all rise together when we're all supporting each other, when we're all unified on what we're doing, when we're all focused on what our service is and what we're trying to provide for the clients that come in and give us an hour out of their day, which is wild, right? Like, we understand that it's a service, then, that's where we get that buy-in, and we all get to rise together with it. And so that was there, but then also the other side of some systems and non-negotiables. And so sorry, my daughter is like messing with the bug. Hey, boo, I need you to come back in. Okay. It's okay. Is the other side of it. Like, I had to do a strong assessment when getting this company up and going, and just being real and being honest with myself of like, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses, and like, what am I actually good at, and what am I going to need help on? And very early on, thanks to you, like, I knew marketing and getting the brand out there and social media and like communication. Like, I was like, man, that's not my wheelhouse. Like, this is going to be a lift that I really have to take on. And so out the gate, it was a year before I got to meet you and like really, get to build session to what it is now.
Yeah.
But even out the gate, it was like, even if I had like a part-time person to do social media right out the gate. And it was like, I brought that person on before I had someone, coming in to clean the studio at the night, or even like for the first 3 months, I was the only instructor on that schedule. And I was like, it was important for me to make sure I had someone really feeling in the seat of my weakness of social media marketing as a priority before I was like, okay, before the things that I know I can really do come off my plate.
Yeah.
And I think, having that as that foundation of just like, okay, like have that, do the assessment of like truly knowing like, what can I do, and make sure I find those people who can fill the gaps and like are clear on the vision as well, has been the game changer in how this has gone.
Yeah. And I also think as session has grown over the last decade, you too, we have taken on other projects, bigger projects. There's more for you to manage. And it gets to a point where you have had to sit back and be like, okay, where do I need to prioritize my time? Where am I most well spent? And then we fill in the gaps from there. And we bring in the people that we know can help you fill in those gaps effectively.
Absolutely.
So let's shift to mom life. How did becoming a mom shift the way that you approach your work? And also tell us a little bit more about Miles and Gigi, who we already met. Gigi.
Yes. Yes. I am a fortunate gal, mom of 2, of my daughter, Georgie Glee, who is 5.5. And then I have my son, Miles, who is 2.5. And they changed everything in the most beautiful of ways and how I approach this business. And that, like, it's, I need to slow down on this answer, but like, initially I think about how I used to manage and operate before having kids. And then, it's like kind of like a before and after situation. And first and foremost, I think one of the immediately, and I think, any of us moms can probably relate to this to some degree. As soon as becoming a mother, my why became so much clearer, right? Of exactly like, why am I doing this? And it definitely, it put a lens of like assessing how my time was being spent and how I want my children to view me, and the role I am setting for my children, and the impact, and just making sure it truly, I always had the fire of wanting to create Session to be the space in which it is. And then introduced my kids. Like, I had Gigi when we were 5 years in. I was shocked in how it genuinely reignited and again made me double down on what we were trying to do at Session. And it was, again, the vision got clearer as far as like, okay, how are we navigating this? And it was something I was like, I want my children to look back and be like, proud and understand why, my daughter's 5 years old, and in her eyes right now, she's like, Mommy, do you have to work today? Are you still working today? And it's like, yeah. I was like, yes. And look at all these amazing people I get to work with. Look at this community that we have. And, when we did the Session Foundation, like, I love roping and bringing my kids into it so they can see and understand what we are trying to do here. And no matter what the industry is, like, yes, my kids get to see me, teach Pilates, but my husband's an entrepreneur as well. And he's in the hospitality industry, and just us kids getting to see it firsthand, the problem solving, everything from negotiations to communications to it truly made us double down on the why behind what we're doing. And then the other side I never foresaw in becoming a mother and having Session was the biggest thing that it changed with my interaction with my team is it wasn't until maternity leave. Maternity leave was the first time I really ever took an extended amount of time and I stepped away from the business. And that was such an eye-opening experience because it opened my eyes to how much amazing people I have on this team. And it was like, I finally gave space to those who are great leaders to actually arrive to the occasion and lead. And that was like, I came back and I was like, it was also that reassurance of like, oh, it didn't burn down.
Wait,
oh,
like, we're good. We're good. Oh my God.
Yeah,
we're good.
yeah. Oh, like utilization's still up. Like,
yeah.
And it was like, yeah, like because we got good people, like lean in, and up until motherhood, like I was very much the manager, the leader of like, I'm going to do it with you, or I'll take it, or I can, or I'll sit on that meeting. And I felt like
I'll do this
at everything. And motherhood, you quickly realize like that has to change. And it was exactly what needed to happen because it has allowed this space for this team to grow and become even more experts of everything that I've asked people to step into and become experts of. And so, yeah, like it's gotten me to lean on the team, and it's been amazing.
We do have a good team.
We do.
This will be a fun one for you to answer. Do you think balance exists?
I think it's a load of bullshit, and I'm sorry, like if I'm not supposed to, because I was right there. But no. I've
Talk to us about how you balance your days. Like, what do your days look like? How do you make it work? How are you a full-time mom? How do you also run a company at the same time?
Right. Chaotically, right? Like there's times where, like the balance thing, I think is it like, I think maybe in my perspective, I take it too literally of like it truly like, people are seeking an equilibrium of sorts. And I'm like, for me, there's absolutely none of that. And again, it's me being 10 years after, like 10 years into this and finally taking the time to step back and look at it. I, for the longest time, had lied to myself and being like, at some point in time, I'm not going to work it this much. Or it's like once we get, and you've heard me say it, once we get past this event, it's going to kind of calm down. Once we get past this point, it's going to kind of calm down. And here we are 10 years in, and we
realize now that that's not the case. We are always working towards the next big thing.
And instead I've fully, finally accepted the fact I am my best when I am working a lot. And that is a choice for me. Like, and again, as I spoke to like my like for the longest time, ever since I was a kid, I've always juggled multiple things, multiple jobs, multiple sports. Let's just like had a therapy session, y'all, and I had this big aha moment of like, this is just who I am in my DNA. And so I always feel like I'm leading people astray when they're like, well, how do you balance it all? And it's like, I don't. I'm an all or nothing gal. And there's weeks where I am all in the business, and I'm bebop teaching multiples, and I'm at AQ, and we're doing an intensive, and then we got, like there's weeks where there's absolutely not. And then there are days where it's like, okay, like I can't, like I'm in my back patio right now and my daughter's on the trampoline, the biggest
work.
Yeah. You just make it work. And understand, and like I had like, and it's a choice of myself of being like, but I genuinely like the work and I'm okay with that. Also, I think the other part of it is something that's helped me is seeing the moment for what it is. And what I mean by that is like, and like in the 10 years that we've been doing this, like there's ebbs and there's flows, and there are wild times where I'm like, buckle up, like it's gonna be a month, and or it's like, actually, like, and again, it's taken me 10 years in to finally get to a place where I see it for what it is, and I'm better at seizing the moment for what it is as well. And so like being at an ebb, I'm like, I'm going to the tea party. I'm going to the dance recital. I'm checking in. I'm at the things. And then I also have that very direct conversation with anything my kids sign up with of being like, I'm not going to be at everything, but I'm going to be at everything I can be. Okay. And just, setting them up for that success. And just, I would be lying to tell y'all if there was like moments where like I don't have a gut check of being like, is this the right call of like how much I like to work versus how, I think for my family, it ultimately genuinely is. But I mean,
I also will give you credit for, you are very good about being all in on like the moment that you're in. So like if you're at work, you are 100% at work. If you are with your kids, even if it's for 1 hour, you are like with your kids for that hour. You're very good about like compartmentalizing the things when it makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's a huge part of it.
1,000% a huge part of it. There is, and you find your boundaries in it. True. Like you're absolutely right, because you're right. Like when I pull into my garage at, like at 5, I'm like, phone goes away. Yeah. I'm not answering a DM. I'm not looking at Slack. No emails exist from 5 until my kids go down. And then once they're down around 8:30, it's like, okay, I can open it back up if something needs to be done. Yeah. But yeah, it's put on the hats.
How you balance,
Yeah. wear a lot of hats.
Okay, so we have obviously talked a lot about community, kind of shifting back to that in a way. When did you realize that Session Pilates, this brand, was about more than just building session? And how did that take us to where we are today, which is the launch of the Session Foundation and 2 months off of our inaugural fundraising event?
Does it feel weird that it's been 2 months? It's like,
Yeah, I just was like, oh,
right? Excuse me. So going back, like community was, as we got into share, like it was literally what got us off the ground before we even had a brick and mortar. And you touched on that lightly, but again, like for the first location, before I announced where the location would be, I had a village behind me that was willing to buy an unlimited membership to ensure that Session was going to get off the ground, which was great because before the doors were open, there was like some cash flow that came in. It was like, oh, okay, here we go. And again, as we spoke to the fact of like, community is a word at Session that we say so much, and it genuinely is our whole why as far as what got us from 2016 to here we are at 2026, 7 locations later. And as we sat down and was thinking about our 10-year anniversary, it was, we've said it so many ways, and we've always, from the day one, we've always wanted a through line to give back to our community. And we did. We stayed true to it, but it was, as you and I talked about quite a bit, it was like these little splashes here and there. We would do a donation-based class once a month, and we would show up over here, we'd volunteer our time there, and we would sponsorship over here. But like it always, at the end of the year, we would look back at it and be like, okay, but what impact do we actually make? Like what needle did we genuinely move, especially as we like talk about community and like so much to our team, to our people and everything. So when we were approaching our 10-year anniversary, we're like, okay, let's not just keep throwing this word around. Let's genuinely put in the effort to move the needle and what we thought would be moving the needle and create the Session Foundation. And the whole Session Foundation, the why about how it was like focused on female entrepreneurs, it was honestly us standing up and looking around in our rooms, right? Like Session has a really big miss. Men need Pilates in their life. I'm here to say that. But undeniably in our rooms, I mean, it's 98% female in there. And not just, I mean, and it's just some amazing women, amazing, like entrepreneurial, beautiful mothers, educator. I mean, like just the spectrum of power women. And it was just very like, man, to be able, and then obviously what spoke to my heartstring, and Molly Grace, you have to be sick of me hearing me say this, but no. I love a full circle moment. And I was like, man, when I went to get Session off the ground, I raised $80K for my initial investment. I had nothing to my name. I couldn't get a bank loan. So I went to these amazing entrepreneur guys and convinced each of them to give me $20K, an $80K raise. And that is how I opened up the first location. And so wanting to move the needle, loving a full circle moment, as much like wanting to hug back this community who's hugged us through so much, I was like, it makes sense. Let's raise grants that will help support the future female entrepreneurs, just like I got that support 10 years ago. And that's what this foundation will be geared towards. And so as you know,
towards, we just gave our first $80,000 grant to Power Woman. And we are in the thick of planning for 2027 and our next round of grants, which I know we'll speak to this more at the end, but that grant application will open in January of 2027. And we would love to have as many of you as possible that it makes sense for to apply for that grant. So And I think too, a big part of the reason that you even didn't hit on was like that genuinely this is a legacy project for you and something that you want to leave behind and show Miles and Gigi living her best life at Sound Session 2026. Like you wanted to show her what it truly means to pay it forward.
And what it mean, like when we, again, it was like, when we say community, this is how you show up for your community. You gotta, if they're going to show up, what's that saying? Like, if you want a village, you got to be a villager kind of thing. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. It was like, hey, let's be that example if we're going to say it. Totally.
Let's see. What advice would you give to someone who wants to build a business that also has impact built into it?
I think the biggest thing is be very clear on the problem you're trying to solve, and ensure that you are solving a problem for the thing that you love. I do think how Session was rooted in wanting to provide a different space, wanting to change something. And the wild thing about it, it's not the modality, right? I joke with everyone, like a lunge is a lunge is a lunge, a squat is a squat is a squat, with a little bit of variance, but at the basis. And starting Session when we did with trying to solve and answer the problem in which I wanted to, which I thought was a gaping problem. I think anyone who goes at that lens will genuinely set themselves apart, and truly stand out amongst, anyone in that industry that you are going in. And the give back portion, the impact portion of it, the best advice I would give to everyone and anyone is you're not too small to move a needle. No matter, like, we are not like Sessions, we have growth, but we're not a big corporation. We're not, who was like, we haven't been doing it, for a long standing time. You don't have to be a certain size to give impact, and to give back to the community that is supporting, and to give back to your people that show up for you, whatever that looks like. And everything from, I think of this lovely woman who's starting her own business that I got to speak to, that I've gotten to work with closely. Like, she started her own business. She doesn't have monetary value to like necessarily donate to a cause, but she's like, okay, my team's going to volunteer time to give back. Right. So like, I think always hugging back the people who support you, you can never go wrong on, you can never go wrong with. And I would, you'd be remiss in thinking, I'll do it when I get to X. I'll do it when I can do, when I've hit this benchmark, or and it's like, be aware there's so many ways to give back and make an impact.
Yeah. And shout out to Holly Moon. I saw her on here earlier.
That's y'all, ad hoc. Be on the lookout for this company. She's doing amazing things, y'all. I'm really excited. I'm going to say it one more time. Ad hoc. You need life planners, ad hoc.
Okay. Fast forward 10 more years. If you were to look back, what kind of impact do you hope that the Session Foundation creates over time?
Oh man. I mean, I think not just women to women, in general, when people support people, like, there's a lot to be said. And then again, I know my direct audience. So I'm like, man, but there's also something to be said when women support women, and just cultivating that space and just understanding like, hey, I hope, like, here's the thing in a nutshell. I hope that in 10 years we can look back, and what I've always strived for Session, and that, hey, when we all work together, we genuinely all rise, that we can expand that even more through the foundation. And that when we all as women collaborate and support each other, and, brand partnerships, like, there's a lot to be said, and we can all rise. And it's within this first year, we've been able to see that so much, in launching the foundation. And I am really excited to see how this ball keeps rolling and building it up.
Yeah. And I know Kara's telling, I think we have like 1 minute left if we want to open it up for questions, which I know that we do. But to Brittany's point too, we launched the Session Foundation this year in honor of our 10-year anniversary. And we have so many ways that other female founded businesses can get involved. And we would love so much to connect with many of you. I know that we're going to be working with Kara to get everyone a promo code for a free intro class. If you've never been to Session, we would love to have you and host you. And then we would love to connect with you more about the Session Foundation, to tell you more about the foundation, what our plans are for 2027. And I know someone hopped in the chat about where they could find the grant application. All of that will go live on the Session Pilates website. There's a Session Foundation page. When the grant application opens, it will be back there. But also follow us on social, y'all, Session Pilates, across all platforms, and we will, trust us, scream it from the rooftops when that grant application is open. And we would love to hear from some of you, all of you. So to that point, Kara, do you want to hop back in and manage the questions, or let us know if there are any questions?
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, I know there will probably be some questions coming in. I know I have a question. I'd love to know, I've kind of been asking everybody this question today, but what is maybe a support resource, whether that's a person, an organization, an online resource, or anything that's been the most helpful for you in your journey, especially maybe in the past year, that you could kind of give to people as like a, hey, this is something that I've tapped into?
And I can't say the DEC, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I will have to say, like, I DEC, y'all deserve your flowers, because we're like, it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, we're a Pilates concept, and also in the storytelling of trying to get everyone to understand, like, this Pilates concept is launching a foundation, and they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yes. And the way y'all lended a hand in helping us navigate the grant process, and just, you know, helping us fill it and set it up, and the appropriate questions, and just the systems, the way y'all are an open book to us and giving us those resources, and just making sure we truly got the foundation off the ground to a great start. I am forever grateful for. Yes. CFT as well was a massive resource as far as the foundation creation goes, of just trying to understand the best way to get the word out and to get the awareness around it, and just the work that CFT is doing, which, y'all, if you don't know, Communities Foundation of Texas, they basically house a lot of the nonprofits here in the DFW area, and just can, like, they're and again, like, between the two of y'all, just these little network hubs that we've been able to talk to so many beautiful people and just get to know the ins and outs. Those two in the past year definitely stand out the most. Molly Grace, do you have any that?
I'm laughing because it goes in hand with the speaker that was just before us. Y'all, AI, ChatGPT has been, in the last year, genuinely has been immensely helpful if you start to learn how to use it in the right way. And I know that we learned so many useful tips and tricks on just how to kind of get that ball off of the ground. And so that's kind of a low-hanging one for us. Everyone obviously has access to that, and it's useful. It's helpful if you use it in the right way, for sure.
Yes, true. Yes, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love that. I don't think that there were any other questions. So anything else, any last tidbits you want to leave people with?
I do see one thing about the grant, and just want to let y'all know. So we'll be opening up the 2027 grant. Correct me if I'm wrong, Molly Grace, but we're looking at mid-January.
January 11th.
January 11th. And so be on the lookout. We would love to hear from y'all. And again, Sound Session 2027 is going to be happening. We're going to be locking in a date between April 2nd and April 9th. And if y'all want to get on board, we'd love to collaborate. We'd love to get you involved. There's a beautiful network that is blooming within Sound Session that, you know, we would love all to join.
An incredible, truly incredible group of female entrepreneurs, female founders, that we are just so eternally grateful to be working with. So yes, we would love to have as many of you part of that as possible.
Awesome. Well, I love that. And I know we'll share it out when it opens. So we'll make sure to do our part in getting people signed up. And
I actually think I saw Terry in the comments that how have you used the DEC this year? That was a huge part of it. The DEC helped push out our grant application and helped us identify a lot of these people who wanted to apply for the grant. And they were truly monumental in that. And just orchestrating the grant. What questions do we ask? What things do we need to care about? What can we legally ask and not ask? Just things that, you know, someone who I am marketing for a Pilates studio. Brittany opened a Pilates studio. These are things that we just don't know without the resources that we are lucky to gain and have through the DEC, and Kara specifically has been huge.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all. And I know somebody just said in the chat that you guys really do lead by example. And I definitely second that. I think working with you guys has been so amazing.
That is one of our grant finalists, Emily. She is with Swanky Matt. Y'all go check her out. She's amazing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for your time. This has been amazing. Getting to hear your story, Brittany, has just been truly inspiring, and super excited to see how we can continue this partnership moving forward and all that's going to be happening for you guys over the next couple years. I'm super excited to kind of watch that growth, but then also help support with sending entrepreneurs over to you guys. So that's also a great takeaway, is it's all about who you know. So tap into your resources. Today has been full of amazing speakers. All of them have been willing to share their LinkedIns and their emails and all those things. So get connected, stay connected, leverage everybody that you have met today and connected with via the chat feature and all those things. Just make sure that you're tapping into the resources that they have available for you as well. I've kind of said this all throughout today, but we really are an ecosystem that's looking to get you connected to all the resources that are available to you. So feel free to reach out to us. If you don't know somebody that you're supposed to be talking to, but you think that we might, feel free to reach out. We would definitely be willing to help support you there. The last thing I want to share is that obviously we're so glad that you guys joined us for our 2026 WEDallas Mompreneur Summit, sponsored by Capital One. Really grateful to have all of you guys here in this space. But if you're looking for what's next, we have our DFW Startup Week coming up in August. It's going to be August through 6th. It's also sponsored by Capital One. So I'm super excited to have them as a really great partner for us throughout the years. But with that, we have lots of exciting things happening. We'll have track sessions in the morning where you can hear about topics like marketing and branding, loan readiness, venture capital, legal and accounting, some of those more hands-on things that you need support with. But then in the afternoon, we also have summits. So Monday, we have our Disrupt Dallas Summit. That's for industry disruption, but more specifically how entrepreneurs of color can help lead that disruption. For one of our keynotes, we're going to have Mega Tolia. She is formerly the CEO of Shondaland. So think Bridgerton and Scandal and all those fun shows. So super excited to have her. We haven't officially announced on social media. So you guys are the first to hear. So super excited to let y'all know that. Wednesday, we have Daniel Lubetsky. He's the founder of the Kind Bars, but also a shark on Shark Tank. So super excited to have him. We'll also have the Chief Strategy Officer, Marissa Bertha with Liquid Death, speaking that day as well. So super excited from her as well. And then Thursday, our keynote, we have Ben Lamb. He's the CEO and founder of Colossal. And they are the organization that brought back the dire wolf, and they're in the process of bringing back the woolly mammoth. So some super exciting things that we're going to be hearing throughout the week. That's just a taste of some of the speakers we have, but I can also put that in the chat as well for you guys to register if you haven't already. We would love to see you there. But yes, thank y'all so much. We loved having you at our WEDallas Mompreneur Summit 2026, and we look forward to seeing you all next year. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kara.
Thanks for having us.